older, which is fantastic. I would love that. I don't want Miami coming here. I would prefer Pittsburgh. But if you tell me it's going to be Miami, let it be miserably cold, please. That's perfectly fine with me.
Perfect start because it's a Club 610.
Yeah.
And our gambling event, as you know, sometimes is a little bit of a messy operation from a drinking perspective. I always got to plan what I'm going to drink the entire night. I think
Cody's
I
talking
usually
about his family event, by the way.
Yeah, not the Playoff Pilsner release. That's a week from now. You're still more than welcome to come. You want to hang out, have a drink, wager some money? You know,
one of two things would happen. Either the alcohol will make my voice way better, or it's going to destroy it again. It's actually we're making progress here. I don't know if that's a good idea. Now we will drink a little bit during Club 610 today, but something tells me drinking all night is not the best thing for the voice.
They say whiskey can be good for you.
Can be, yeah. But we're already recovering. The voice is getting stronger.
Is it?
Well, it's a 10 o'clock out. It's a 10 o'clock out.
I feel like it sounded more normal today.
Okay, yeah, it is. 10 o'clock out, we're off to a better start, man.
I think the congestion is throwing me off a little bit. I'll admit.
Yeah, well, that's happening too. But the voice, I think, is a little stronger. And naturally, as the show goes on, it'll get a little worse. But we'll be good. Monday, everybody's feeling good, hopefully. Everybody's off to a good start on a Friday.
Yeah, I've got no complaints.
I brought the Reese's peanut butter cups. I might have to take those out of the backpack. But I brought the snack size ones that you gifted. And at some point
we're going to get one in there, and you're going to cut them into pieces so we can get a taste test?
Or we'll do something. Yeah, okay. To find out if you think they taste different. Okay. I don't know how we can. We'll figure out how we want to actually do it.
We can just do it at Club 610 with Aaron Ladd. 4 voices instead of 3. It's a better way to take a look at it. That way we get a sense of, if we agree with your assessment. And look, I don't want to claim to be a bigger expert on eating Reese's peanut butter cups than you, because I'm not. That would be like me
I just want to know
that,
if the taste
the fajita veggies taste different at Chipotle.
Right.
You would be a better person to answer that question.
I just want to know if the regular Reese's peanut butter cups that you just get at the store and our company kitchen are different than the bulk snack size ones you bought me. And I think they're different. That's all.
Okay, we'll find out. I got you a whole tub full of them, so I
might
have
to bring the whole tub in.
I just don't think it's a lot to get through for one person. If you had more people in your house, I think it'd be different.
But if they don't taste as good, man, I'll be honest. Like
you're gonna get through them slower.
I don't have the desire to eat them as much as I did before. If they're not going to taste the same, that's all. Coming up a little bit later on today, 11 o'clock, Pete Sweeney, our Chiefs insider from Arrowhead Pride, is going to join us. Also, as you already mentioned, Club 610. Aaron Ladd is our special guest today from Club 610. He was at the Cotton Bowl last week. Obviously, he's a Missouri Tiger fan and grad. And so we'll talk a little college football, national title game on Monday night, and, of course, let's be honest, we're not talking about the Chiefs and Chargers. We're talking bigger picture with the Chiefs because this game on Sunday doesn't mean anything, and none of us have any interest in breaking down Blaine Gabbert and Easton Stick.
Not particularly. I don't think that we're going to come into this day, unless it's Blaine Gabbert throws for 330 yards, and be like, well, at least I got some confidence that they need him to make the one Chad Henne throw. I guess he's got it in the back pocket. I mean, it's easy to forget that Chad Henne went 97 yards on a touchdown drive in an inevitable Super Bowl run last year, but he did. So every once in a while, on occasion, you do need your backup quarterback in the postseason to do something, or if you're the Browns, your 4th quarterback of the year to lead your team to the playoffs, then you're the case. So, maybe a little, but not a lot. But when I was looking back at last week's game against Cincinnati, and the way that they specifically talked after that game, something stood out to me about the way Travis Kelce talked on his podcast, New Heights on Wednesday. He had said to Jason when talking about that game, he's like, the energy, it felt normal again. The energy on the team felt normal again. It felt like us. And what I realized is that Cincinnati had re-energized them to hate again, to be motivated again. And I think for a little bit this season, they probably lost some of that confidence, motivation, swag, surf right, the clip of Willie Gay asking for it to play. They had lost some of that. 1, because they weren't playing good football. 2, for the obvious reasons that we talk about any team. It's boring to play in the regular season if you're a Kansas City Chief. It just is. They've been in Super Bowls and AFC title games. You get kind of numb to it to a point, and Cincinnati woke them back up again for a minute. My hope is that it re-energized them for the playoff run.
Did they get re-energized because Cincinnati, or did they get re-energized, Cody, because the week before they had one of their worst performances in the Patrick Mahomes era against the Raiders and got embarrassed on Christmas Day at Arrowhead, and all of a sudden it became all of a sudden it became a real scenario that if we mess around, this division could even be problematic for us, just speaking for them, right? Like,
Sure.
That to me was a lot of it. Yeah, I'm sure Cincinnati talking a little smack about L'Jarius Sneed obviously fired up the defense. I mean, that they were talking right back to Jamar Chase right away. So I think there's some truth to that. But, man, I think a lot of it is you got embarrassed the week before. And so you're going to fight back and punch back the next week and be a little bit stronger and more energetic. And suddenly the 3 seed and the division became a real threat to lose. That automatically is also going to get you to play, I think, a little bit better. To me, that's what it is a little bit more than, hey, they realized what it was like to play a playoff opponent, the Cincinnati Bengals.
But it's not just that they beat them. They beat them like they were sneakily dominant in that game. I know that you're going to be like, look at all the field goals. Dude,
sneakily dominant. They were a fourth down stop if they don't get it to being down double digits, man.
But they made that stop. I mean, I understand we can speak in hypothetical.
Well, you're speaking hypothetical. You're saying it's dominant.
Every single moment of that game after that was complete control. Offensively, defensively, special teams, it was lopsided, completely lopsided.
Control the game.
They scored on 7 different possessions. Like a lot of this, and I understand some of this is. There's still the problems that they have, and I'm not pretending like the red zone stuff is not an issue, but this isn't the most complete win they've had because they beat, I don't know, whatever it was, Chicago by 1 million, or when they beat the Raiders or the Chargers earlier in the season by a couple of touchdowns. This is the most together they had looked in 8 weeks. And I think a lot of that, again, was because Cincinnati. All that talk leading up to it, this feels like a team that, they faced them in the AFC title game last year. You start getting some of that playoff juice bubbling a little bit again, and then you find yourself in there. They are an imperfect team, and I'm not going to try to claim to you that this is the thing that propels them all the way to the Super Bowl because they just beat Cincinnati. Yeah. Then they got to take this mini bye week against the Chargers before actually facing a postseason team. It was just a reminder to me of what this team can do in do or die situations.
Yes,
the worst games of the year are not that.
That's exactly what you said. That's to me what it was more. It was a do or die situation in terms of they were in danger of losing their playoff spot. That's more than it was. Hey, it was Cincinnati because again, like you're mentioning, they got the playoff juices reminded. They played Philadelphia earlier this year.
They played them tough too,
right? Like they played Philadelphia.
That was before Philadelphia fell off a complete cliff.
And they played Philadelphia. Who they played in the Super Bowl. So I think there's probably some truth to both, if we're being honest. But ultimately, yeah, they're going to have to play with that kind of energy come playoff time, and it was refreshing to see. They did some things better. I control the game. I probably agree with more than like they dominated Cincinnati. I think they controlled the game. That's the style of game they're going to have to win. We've all discussed that throughout the week. That's the style of game they're going to have to win where the offense is not going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. The defense is going to need to get you a big stop. You're going to have to win ugly. There's going to be moments of frustration. I think, yes, that game is probably the style of game they have to win. But, I don't necessarily think they were dominant in the entire performance against Cincinnati. And, again, we're not going to know until the wild card game if anything from that game actually carries over because this weekend you can't judge this game at all for what it means for the postseason for Kansas City, at all. You said it yesterday, you're correct, that if Justin Ross has a big game, people will freak out.
They'll be ready for Ross.
It will have no
Same
bearing.
with Richie James, by the way. If Richie James, for some reason, goes for 80 yards, you're going to be banging the table for more postseason Richie James, too.
At least Richie James is actually starting to play, though. Justin Ross, he could have 75 yards. I don't think he's getting 50 snaps in the wild card game.
Are you betting on any Justin Ross props?
I actually think he might get a touchdown in the game, though, because he is going to get an opportunity. The Chiefs will get a touchdown or two in this game against the Chargers, and so Blaine Gabbert is a former starter in this league. I think he is capable of getting the ball to guys that are able – it's a bad defense like the Chargers to get open. So I could see Justin Ross getting a red zone touchdown. I think he's plus 400-ish to get an anytime touchdown. Ross is.
Okay, so you're betting anytime Justin Ross
Other than
touchdown?
that, I have no interest really in betting the game. I mean, it just –
You're not betting yardage totals for Gabbert?
No.
The spread?
Definitely not the spread in this game. Chiefs are 3.5-point dogs.
I have no idea which way that's going to go, by the way. The Chiefs could lose by 10 or win by 10, and I'm not really sure. Yeah. And anywhere in between. And I wouldn't be shocked based on the players that they're playing. And then we ride into this other part, which is we've had these conversations a little bit throughout the season, which is, all right, we should still probably take a second and appreciate the current run that they're on and what they've been doing. Because to this point, this has been the worst season of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I guess the question you're now asking yourself is, will this be the worst ever?
Yeah, I was thinking about this more. I mean, this is probably, for some people, they're going to have to wait to see the end product, right? Does it result in a wild card loss?
Let's play the hypothetical game.
But yeah, no, I'm going through it. And so I think for some, that might be the way they go about. But I was thinking more about the regular season. And right this second, when you look at this team, if this is as bad as it gets, Think about that. And I think if there's a healthy Mahomes, this season where they might win 10 games is going to be as bad as it gets. I'm talking about a healthy Mahomes, not a year where he misses 8 games or something. But assuming Mahomes is healthy, I do think as long as Mahomes and Reed are together, this regular season will be as bad as it gets, which is hilarious to say out loud because bad. They're going to win 10 games at least, if not 11 games, and they won the division for an 8th straight year. So let's put that part in perspective. I think it's important. But as long as Mahomes is healthy, yeah, I don't think they're having years with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid together, assuming everybody is healthy that needs to be important like Mahomes, that this is going to be ever a 7 or 8 win football team. No.
So Tom Brady had 2 9-win seasons. That was the worst of his career. One was like in his 3rd year in the
less
league.
Games.
And one was in his 3rd year in the league, and one was in his final year in Tampa Bay when they finished 9-8 and still made the postseason.
Less games than the first year, though, right? The first time around.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But again, still 9. And obviously Patrick Mahomes is at 10 right now. In this last game, they would have been 10-6 if it was a regular season, which is certainly there. But probably, like you may be honest, probably. You're probably watching the worst year of the worst regular season of the Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes era. What's funny is it might not still be the worst year because I can't look. I'm no longer predicting it, but I can't, in good conscience, rule out the possibility the Chiefs can still win the Super Bowl. That'd be foolish. I can't rule it out. Like it's just not plausible based on who they are, what they've been. Even in a down year, what are they? The 3rd best team in the AFC, the 2nd best team in the AFC, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think we're probably looking at the worst regular season of Mahomes' career. And just as a reminder, Lamar Jackson, who is going to be the MVP, he's like minus $1 billion or whatever to win it, right?
Yeah, it's done.
He's a lock. So he's going to win the MVP. Patrick Mahomes has more total yards, more total touchdowns, the exact same amount of turnovers. Like they have been statistically the same quarterback, and this is the worst year we've seen out of Mahomes. Are you kidding? And that other guy's going to win MVP, by the way. It's just win total.
He might
That's
run away
why
with
it's the
it
worst.
too.
It's win total.
After all the talk all year about how this is such a up in the air MVP season and who's going to win it, all that, the way the last couple weeks have gone, and to Lamar's credit, right, it wasn't just against random teams. Lamar went on a primetime stage and beat the Niners. He went on a huge stage last week and blew out the Miami Dolphins and threw for 5 touchdowns. And the MVP award is flawed. We've discussed this. It's like the Heisman Trophy award now. You play a big primetime slot game and have a huge game, and everybody all of a sudden crowns you the new favorite. But, yeah, he's going to run away with it. And this statistically season for Mahomes, knowing what the wide receiver room has been like, knowing all the drops and leading the NFL in drops, yeah, it does put things in perspective a little bit in terms of anybody freaking out nationally. Nobody is locally, I don't think. Well, it hasn't been Mahomes' best year, and he's made some mistakes. Still, statistically, he's going to come out having a season that most quarterbacks would love to have in their NFL career. And when you mention, hey, like you're not ruling him out for the Super Bowl, like I can't
in good conscience.
I know odds aren't everything, right? It doesn't guarantee or predict the future, but the Chiefs still do have the 4th best odds to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like think about that. That's nuts. Like, just in terms of how everybody's talked about the team this year.
Yeah, especially because the Ravens and the 49ers, are 1 and 2 because they are the top teams in the AFC and NFC, and everybody agrees upon that, and they're still 4th.
Yeah, the Chiefs, so the Chiefs are just behind the Cowboys, who are plus 850. The Cowboys who are going to likely be the 2 seed in the NFC. And then the Chiefs have the same odds as the Bills, who, again...
Who they went wire to wire with in a game earlier this year.
And what's nuts, a Bills team who still has a chance to not make the playoffs, depending on results this weekend. So just to put everything a little bit in perspective, the Dolphins, who could be the 2 seed, right, if they win, they're 14-1 to win the Super Bowl. Nobody believes in them, but it's not like it's just nuts. They're 14-1, and you're getting a team that could be the 2 seed.
A lot of this is because if you look at especially the AFC playoff picture, the Chiefs lost to Buffalo, but easily could have won that game, right, because the penalty late and all that other stuff. Then they beat Miami, one of the other teams who has the best odds. Ravens, who have the best odds, have lost to 2 other teams who could be in the playoff field in Indianapolis and Cleveland. So, like, they're not just running away beating every single team that's going to be in the playoff field, too. Nobody, like, the Ravens are the best team, but they're not the best team in the sense, like, when I walked into the postseason last year, and we all knew, I think we all knew, the Eagles and the Chiefs are the 2 best teams. And I thought that they were clearly the 2 best teams. I think in the NFC, you could make that argument for the 49ers. And I'm not saying the Ravens aren't the best, but I don't think it's the separation the Chiefs had on the AFC last year. And that's what the difference is and why I wouldn't rule it out. And again, if this is the worst year, unbelievable. Like, are you kidding me?
Spoiled.
Let's say we got to do another 10 years of sports radio in this town. If you're telling me that this is the down year, 10-7, let's just say they lose. 10-7, An AFC West title in what? Like a divisional round loss? Like if that's the bitter end, okay, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's the floor.
Like the only other floor that could come is an old quarterback. You know how this works. 40-year-old Patrick Mahomes with not enough weapons around him. That's how it happened to Tom Brady. Some of his worst years where you're like, this team's not very good and has no chance to win the Super Bowl was like bitter end when he was making him throw to Jacoby Meyer. You know? Like that's it. That's the only way I see this creeping back up worse than this.
What's funny about the Jacoby Meyer thing is
It wasn't even him. It might have been worse than him.
I was going to say.
He's been fine, yeah.
Yeah, Jacoby Meyer actually had a really nice season this year. Plenty of people would have loved him in Kansas City, considering how everything went down.
I still can't believe the Patriots decided to pay Juju Smith-Schuster the exact same amount of money.
Wow.
A body aging Juju Smith-Schuster, and they could have just brought Jacoby Meyer back for the same money, and he couldn't get on the field.
Well, that goes back to the whole Bill Belichick future conversation. And will another team let him be a general manager because of the general manager decisions? I guess I just saw this could be, of course, the last game for Belichick this weekend as the head coach of the New England Patriots. He's out sick. He's doing his press conference remote. So Belichick is sick.
Got cold,
they had a big snowstorm, I guess, coming to New England or something like that on this weekend or today or whatever. And so the press conference is weird. His final press conference might be remote. Just weird way to end it maybe for Belichick in New England.
They'll have other chances to talk, but yes, it is weird. And reportedly, like the entire NFC South wants him. Maybe it'd be funny if he ended up if they got rid of Todd Bowles, although I don't think they will.
I don't think Bowles is getting fired. They're going to probably win the
either.
division. Even if they don't, they overachieved, right? With Baker Mayfield. The question will be Dennis Allen and Arthur Smith, even though there's reports that Arthur Smith's not going to lose his job, but we'll see how it plays out.
I just think it'd be funny if for some reason he ended up as the Bucs head coach. It's just funny to end up they both end up in Tampa Bay after leaving New England. It's just somehow funny.
I don't know why Belichick would go to New Orleans. They're still in cap. They got cap mess.
If
Atlanta would be
Atlanta's not a bad situation.
Atlanta has some talent on the roster.
And if you're Bill Belichick, you just go get the best veteran quarterback that money can buy.
Yeah, you go with Kirk Cousins next year, and you got Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London already there in a winnable division.
I don't know if I'd want him though if I was a Falcons fan. I would rather take Ben. I want a younger guy.
I know we joke on this show about Kirk Cousins and all that.
He's a fine quarterback.
Kirk Cousins is still a 9 to 11 quarterback in the league, right? 9th to 11th ranked quarterback in the league.
I'm talking about Bill Belichick.
You're saying you
I don't know if Falcons fans would want Bill Belichick to be there compared to I think
compared to who?
Ben Johnson or one of these younger guys, because if Bill goes in there and him and Drake London butt heads or whatever, who knows if he is in control of things, what's going to happen? And all of a sudden the roster goes from where it's at talent-wise to somewhere else.
Well, I think if they're giving him GM control. I mean, that's the big wild card that nobody knows. If the next landing spot for Belichick, are they giving him GM control? Is it something that he still wants? And Ben Johnson is going to be the OC of the Lions. It's going to be the number one option for most of these jobs. He's obviously not taking every single job. So, yes, Falcons fans might prefer Ben Johnson. I don't know if you're Ben Johnson, is that the number one landing spot, or is L.A., the Chargers, with Justin Herbert, your number one spot?
Again, I actually think Atlanta is a somewhat appealing job just because
Division's weak,
and you should be looking at the talent and being like, I'm going to get more out of Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts than that guy.
You're almost an automatic to make the playoffs, essentially.
If you get a functional quarterback, yes, because Kirk Cousins, like you said, Gold, no matter what you think about him, he is a massive upgrade over Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke. He's a sight. So is Russell Wilson's an upgrade. Depending on which veteran quarterback you're trying to peel off the streets, and there are more than normal, I feel like, this year because of how many good young quarterbacks there are in the draft. I think there's going to be a musical chairs of veteran quarterbacks in which one of them does not have a job. Because even Baker could make the argument and be like, hey, I can't keep my job here? What the hell?
Yeah, I think he'll be back in Tampa. I do think Tampa will retain him.
And then go draft a guy late in the first and the second, whatever. You can eventually work on your replacement, but I'd be interested in Atlanta if I were Bill, if it's open.
Again, all that stuff will start right on Monday. Monday's Black Monday in the NFL, right? When we see more of the firings happening. I don't know if we'll get Belichick's result or outcome, I should say, on Monday, but there will certainly be plenty of coaching news on Monday after this weekend as the calendar turns over to playoff football time and ultimately the offseason for a lot of teams in the NFL. Here in about 10 minutes, we will go into some of the big matchups for those final playoff spots that have to work themselves out and certainly has implications for the Chiefs as well. Yesterday, though, the coordinators, as usual, were speaking out at Arrowhead, right? Nagy, Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo were all speaking, as were, I think, some of the position coaches. And one thing Dave Tobe mentioned, again, caught your attention, was once again about the philosophy in returning punts this time.
Okay, it has been scary again. The special team stuff has been buried on our concern list. Remember, it used to be a top 3 one last year because it was one of the obvious things that they were doing wrong consistently. But we got bigger fish to fry, bigger problems. So we've been ignoring the fact that returning punts inside the 10 has been a dicey proposition for this team a lot this year. And when Dave Tobe got asked about it yesterday, he's like, nope, you got to be aggressive in this league with punt returns. And I'm like, oh, Dave, are we doing this? Like, it took him all the way until this year to accept how everyone in the league has decided kick returns work, which is don't return them. Just take the ball at the 25 and move on with your life. But you're going to hold on to this one? You're still holding on to punt? This team, again, unless you got Devin Hester back there, which I think maybe sometimes is what's going on in Dave Tobe's brain. He's had Devin Hester and Tyreek Hill and some really great punt returners. He's like, worth the risk. We'll get it done. And instead this year, every time they fielded a ball inside the 10, 90% of the time, it is either they're being tackled immediately, or they're losing yardage, or sometimes maybe almost losing fumbles on the goal line like Richie James and causing bigger problems.
Well, he caught the ball inside the end zone. He caught the ball inside the end zone and decided to return the punt. So I agree with you that I would just, for the most part, fair catch. And I think punts, you can be a little more aggressive. Certainly on kickoff returns, I don't want them returning it. Let me play devil's advocate a little bit, though. If you're in Dave Tobe's spot, other than your prior history and the fact that you are a special teams head coach,
and they're taking away your job slowly.
You could argue, if you're him, right, that, all right, last year AFC title game, one of the biggest plays of the game was what? A punt return from Sky Moore. In the Super Bowl, one of the biggest plays was what? A punt return from Tony. I'm just playing the other side for a second. Yeah. And so there's an argument to be made, like game-changing plays can still happen. I'm with you that for the most part, not happening.
Game-changing in the negative, too. It's like Dave Tobe, this is the one thing that always killed me about the kick returns for years, and now bothers me a little bit about the punt, is he never acknowledges when it goes the other way. Like, so for how many, like, game-changing positive plays you've gotten out of there? You've mentioned several big ones. They probably had, like, 10, right? I'm sure they've had, like, 7 or whatever over Dave Tobe's tenure over the last 7 years. I mean, how many have they had where it was, like, game-changing and, like, you had the ball at the 1 and you had all the work to do, or you got the ball at the 8 and it essentially killed the drive instead of getting the ball at the 20?
But that goes back to
it's got to be a lot more than
like,
7.
But that to me is, I mean, obviously it's coaching too, but like that's just player awareness. Like Richie James, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen.
He said he had decided to return it before the ball was even kicked.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody catch the ball on a punt in the end zone. Like, honestly, I don't think I've ever seen that, not even in college. That's just something unheard of. And yeah, he clearly made up his mind, as he said, before the punt return. Overall, yes, either let it bounce in the end zone or just fair catch it. But I think in his shoes, you're probably thinking about what happened in the playoffs last year, and you're thinking about you're a special teams coach. If you're a special teams coach and all of a sudden and you say, hey, by the way, we're not going to return kicks. We're not going to do punts. And I think a lot of special teams coaches
like, what am I supposed to do?
Their job security long-term down the road.
Make sure Butker puts the ball between the uprights, and make sure Tommy Townsend's good at, you're good at your own punt coverage. I get it. Yeah. I understand, like, the diminishing of the role and, like, that feeling of that probably, like, running backs felt like 15 years ago when they're like, whoa, why are you trying to squeeze me out of this equation? I get it. I understand. But that's the way of the land. Adapt or die. That's the way the league has worked forever. Just because fullback eventually became a position that did not exist anymore didn't mean you get to just hold on to fullbacks forever. And he did, by the way. He held on to fullbacks till the bitter end. And then eventually the Broncos took on Michael Burton instead of the Chiefs. Like, you adapt or die. That's just the way this works. And I think it took him a little while, but he's come around on kick returns. All I'm saying is maybe take a little harder look at how about selective aggressiveness with the punt return? I'm not saying never. I'm just saying sometimes. You got to tell Richie James that if your feet are in the end zone, get the hell away from that football. Get away from that football.
Yeah,
you're not taking that one back.
Obviously, that can't happen. But what you're saying is only return the ones you know are going to be good. That's what everybody's saying.
It just sounds like fake punt packages.
Just only return the ones you know are going to be great, right, Cody? That's basically where we're at.
I would have just told him.
Just got to know before it happens. Only return the ones that are going to be great.
I'm not saying he can't take a chance every once in a while. I'm saying he takes too many. Let's say he does 20 of these and I'm like, I don't like any of those. Can we get it to 10? Can we find a compromise between Dave Tobe and I where we can find a good middle ground of aggressiveness where I understand every play can't work all the time, but you're also acting like they're going to work all the time or that they can't go bad. I'd like the inverse of that. I also think the Super Bowl is a time where that selective aggressiveness works in your favor, Gold, where taking those big risks makes sense to me sometimes more in the postseason and more in the Super Bowl because of the benefit of you could win a Super Bowl with this decision. Regular season games, you can kind of play the let's play it closer to the vest for 17, 18 weeks.
Again, just playing the other side again with the offensive struggles this year. Is there something to be said that you feel like you actually might need a bigger play on special teams this year?
Our argument used to be just give the ball to Mahomes at the 25
Right.
and he'll put the ball in the damn end zone. Don't worry about it. This year's a little tougher for that argument, in fairness.
All right, there are massive games starting tomorrow afternoon with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and then wrap it up on Sunday night with Buffalo and Miami. Let's go through a couple of these because they have major implications for the Chiefs and who could be coming to Kansas City next weekend.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
If you're someone that wears contacts or glasses, like I used to be, you've probably at some point thought about, and it would be pretty nice not to have to look for my glasses in the morning, not to knock over the water on the nightstand searching for the glasses. I've definitely done that before. Maybe pack those contacts, remember to take out the contacts. All of that was part of my daily life until May of 2021. I called DuraVision. I went in for my free consultation. I found out I was a candidate for SBK Advanced LASIK. 2 days later, I was having my procedure. The very next day, I was driving right back into work. And right now, they have their friends and family offer, providing a savings up to $1,000 on LASIK. This is for a limited time only. Think about this. It's typically reserved for family members of their surgery patients only, but now you can take advantage of it as well. Give DuraVision a call at 913-491-3330 or go online to DuraVision.com and tell them Gold from 610 sent you.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
It's touchdown Kansas City for homeowners. When you sell your home as is, in any condition, to RexBuysKC.com. This is Mitch Holter's voice of the Chiefs. And now, sell your home to Rex. No matter the condition or situation, with closing details designed to fit your schedule, needs, and wants.
Thanks, Mitch. This is Rex, owner of RexBuysKC.com, your local home buyer. We offer instant cash offers on the first visit. We pay you more. We give you unlimited options on how to sell your home as is with no out-of-pocket repair cost, no closing cost, fees, or commissions, and will close in as little as 7 days. Call now at 816-330-6000 or go online to RexBuysKC.com.
Rex will buy your home for more with huge cash offers, fair and honest dealings, and options that make selling your home quick and hassle-free.
Homeowners, call now, 816-330-6000 or go online at RexBuysKC.com.
My name is John Clay Wolf, and I'm the CEO of GiveMeTheVin.com, and I love to buy cars. And I love the system we built to buy your car. It is quick. It is fast. If you've got your license plate number, you can just go to GiveMeTheVin.com, stick it in there. 45 seconds, you're in and out. You'll have a number. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer, where we love to buy cars.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Hey, it's Carrington from The Drive here, and at the other place, that's where I like to go to eat, hang out, watch sports, and if you can't make the game, go to the other place where their game day atmosphere makes you feel like you're at the game. With great Sunday specials like $12 14-inch two-topping pizzas to a dozen wings for just $12. The other place, Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, and coming soon to Mission and Belton.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
With savings at the Home Depot, we'll get your kitchen clicking. With top brand appliances like a GE Profile refrigerator with convenient features like a built-in dual dispense autofill pitcher. Plus, with seamless shopping in-store and online, everything you need for your kitchen is just a click away. Get up to $800 off select kitchen appliances from top brands like GE Profile at the Home Depot. Pricing valid January 4 through 24. Gas ranges and dryers extra. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-330-2929. That's 800-330-2929. 800-330-2929.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
No matter where you are, 610 Sports Radio is one click away on the free Odyssey app. Listen to all our shows live and on demand, and catch live play-by-play for the Royals and Kansas State Athletics. The biggest names in KC sports all live right here.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes.
Your home for Royals baseball and your official broadcast partners of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio. Always live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Download it today.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
With a smile at Andy's, top your day. With a smile at Andy's, top your day.
I love s'mores, so I made our new Andy's Frozen Custard S'mores Jackhammer just for fall.
Back here on Cody and Gold, just getting started still here on a Red Friday. We're about a half hour away from our guy Pete Sweeney from Arrowhead Pride joining us. You guys can always interact with us on the J Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7610, and hopefully interact with us next Friday out at Cinder Block Brewery. It's our 3rd annual Playoff Pilsner beer release party Friday, January 12th. It starts at 6 o'clock. That's a week from tonight. Of course, Dusty will have his after-hours show broadcasting live starting at 6. The entire 610 crew going to be out there, and F325 Barbecue going to be doing a special tailgate menu. Wings, loaded mac, barbecue sandwiches. Going to be a great night to kick off the postseason. Again,
they were last year too, right?
I don't
feel
remember.
like somebody brought barbecue to the table last year, and it was
yeah.
delicious. I'm just going to assume it was them.
Let's just say if it was great, it was them. How about that? If you enjoyed it, it was absolutely them. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the food truck last year, but yeah, it was fantastic. It's going to be great again, and we're going to have a really nice time getting set for the postseason, which we'll find out the Chiefs' opponent based off of what happens this weekend. So let's take a look at some of these final playoff spots and games that are going to shake out. I mean, the big one is Sunday Night Football. We all know that. Buffalo and Miami. So here's the scenario for Buffalo again. They can clinch the AFC East title with the win against Miami. How do the Bills get a playoff spot? Well, a tie, or Pittsburgh loses or ties, or Jacksonville loses or ties, or Houston, Indianapolis ties. That's the Buffalo scenario. For Miami, it's simple. They win the AFC East. They're the 2 seed.
They lose, they're the 6.
It's that simple in terms of that. So we'll know the exact scenario before we get to this game. But how do you think this game plays out? Because Miami is banged up right now. Jalen Waddle's still hurt. We know Bradley Chubb, unfortunately, done really for the season. Jalen Phillips was already done for the season.
Okay, so they are undefeated at home, and Miami is playing at home. They only, however, have one win this year that I would qualify as a wow, good job, high quality opponent win, and that's the win they got against Dallas. Outside of that, nothing Miami has done has been overly impressive. But the at-home part is throwing me. I'll give it to the Bills, but I'll be honest, I'm a little torn here. I do think Miami's definitely has a good shot to win this game, especially because of how well they play in those circumstances. I just think the injuries have gotten to be so high that they can't overcome it against a Buffalo team that's been fighting for their life for weeks. And then I can't believe we tried to bury them 8 weeks ago. Then the Chiefs had a chance to actually bury them.
They'd already be out of the playoffs if the Chiefs would have won. This game would not have been flexed to Sunday Night Football if the Chiefs would have handled their business.
Don't think that we will not bring this up if the Chiefs eventually lose to the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. How you could have buried them. How if somebody could just be on sides, they'd be done for.
Yep.
And you would have a win, and this team would be eliminated. I'll give it to the Bills. They've been fighting for their damn life. I think they're the better team than Miami. I'll give them the slight edge, but I by no means would be surprised if Miami won.
Yeah, so the line has gone down, but I liked Miami when they were 3-point dogs. Now it's down to 2.5, so it's actually going towards Miami for Sunday Night Football. Yeah, I just think the question is the Bills' offense, which has been better, it's still been middle of the road. It's not a dominant offense. And can Tua, I think this is the game where it's all right, Tua, everybody has applauded you for your performance. You've stayed healthy all year. You've dealt with some injuries at wide receiver. Can you actually will your team to a victory in a massive game? Yeah, you're in the postseason no matter what, but we all know there's a big difference between being the 2 seed or the 6 seed and having to go on the road. All right, now let's back up a little bit and go to the first game of the weekend. Pittsburgh and Baltimore. We know Baltimore's not going to play Lamar Jackson in this
Pittsburgh's
game.
going to lose, dude. They're just that's a classic.
Pittsburgh's
classic
a 3-point favorite. This line keeps going down. It was 4. It was 3.5, I don't know, a half hour ago. It's down to 3. Pittsburgh -3 in this one. Must-win spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they want to get in. Here's their scenarios. They win, plus a Buffalo loss gets them in. They win, or a Jacksonville plus a Jacksonville loss. They win, plus a tie in the Colts in Texans game. There's also some other crazier scenarios as well. But simply put, they got to win this football game, and they still need some help. Mike Tomlin, I think the Steelers are going to get in, man. I do think the Steelers win with Mason Rudolph.
Give him the coach of the year then. Screw it.
Sure. I mean, there's a impact actually of having Mason Rudolph that they weren't getting from Trubisky, and that is the deep ball. And that's where you wonder if Pickens and Rudolph could hook up one more time for a deep pass and a big explosive play. I think they can against Baltimore, who's resting a lot of starters.
Tyler Huntley is a capable enough quarterback that I kind of feel like Baltimore's going to find some way to eke this thing out, and Pittsburgh's going to come up just short. Because there's been a lot of these miracle seasons out of teams where it's I don't know how the Colts have any business being in the postseason. I don't know the Texans have any business. I don't know how the Steelers. There's so many of these teams where I'm like, man, how? How are you still fighting for your life? Atlanta, New Orleans, etc. And I feel like Cinderella's story ends for somebody, and I'll just predict that it ends for the Steelers. I just think Tyler Huntley's good enough. He can beat you. This is not a normal backup circumstance. And I think Baltimore finds some way to win so that Buffalo's not in a situation, which kind of stinks, but the 2 or the 6 is still a massive swing because one of those ends up with you going to Kansas City.
Yeah, we brought this up the other day. It's teams that are motivated to win versus not. It doesn't guarantee anything. We always just because the Steelers are theoretically the more motivated team for a playoff spot doesn't mean Baltimore and guys on that field aren't motivated. It definitely doesn't mean they're motivated to cover. They don't care. They're just trying to win a football game. The Steelers might win by 1. They're not motivated to cover the 3 points for you or the 4 points for you. All right, later Saturday night, Texans, Colts. The first time the Texans have played a game this year outside of the 1 o'clock window or noon window here locally.
That's wild.
Yeah. And don't get a primetime slot. It's Texans at Colts. Here's what's at stake there. Texans clinch the AFC South, the win, or a Jacksonville loss, right? Houston, if Jacksonville wins, then they're going to win the AFC South. For the Colts to get the AFC South, they need a win plus a Jacksonville loss. The Colts can get a playoff spot, though, if they just win. So that's what's at stake for Indianapolis in this one. Can Gardner Minshew do it one more time? Can he do it one more time? The Texans are not the same team they were when C.J. Stroud was there 5 weeks ago. They don't have, not only is C.J. Stroud back, but they had Tank Dell then. Yeah, Nico Collins has been a little banged up. I think we're going to see the Colts win this game and spoil what has been a great year for DeMeco Ryans and company in year 1.
I'm going to take, so this is difficult because I think the Colts have the better coach, but the Texans have the better quarterback. I'm going to go better quarterback this time. in a pretty evenly matched up thing. I'm going to go the Houston Texans.
Okay.
I think the Colts are a little too Jekyll and Hyde. Like, look, they played close. They got their ass beat by the Falcons a couple weeks ago, but then they wrecked the Steelers in what was an incredibly important game for them, but got wrecked by the Bengals the week before. Like, they're just kind of a messy team who I can't figure out. It would make more sense to me that they were barreling towards the playoffs if Jonathan Taylor was having, like, the season from Jonathan Taylor a year or two ago, and he was just like, he was the reason why the offense was churning. He's been good, been a nice player, but he hasn't been that kind of player. I'll just give the Texans the edge. I think these are two teams that have had a really impressive year considering the circumstances. I'm just going to go better quarterback instead of better coach this time. Really good. By the way, there's so many like 9 or 10 win teams who have coach of the year deserving guys.
Well, Stefanski's going to win it, I think.
Yeah, he is. But like, I would give Stefanski, Tomlin, Steichen. Like, there's just so many guys who have done a
Nico
lot.
Ryans, yeah.
Yeah. To like, or Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. So many people who've like kept themselves alive despite the fact that it didn't feel like they should have.
I mentioned the Jags. They're going to play the Titans on Sunday. Jacksonville's a 3.5-point favorite. It's simple for Jacksonville, despite all the issues they've had with injuries. If they win the AFC South. Other scenarios to get in, they could lose the game if Pittsburgh loses, plus Denver loses, or ties, plus Indianapolis and Houston doesn't end in a tie. That's how you following? That's how Jacksonville can still get in.
Just win and make this easier for me. My brain hurts thinking about the other ones.
Look, the Titans are going to put up a fight in this game, and that's why the line has shifted. At one point, you could have got the Titans as 5.5-point dogs. It's down, as I said, to 3.5.
That's pretty big movement.
It
2
is.
points.
I think Jacksonville wins, but the reason why we're seeing movement here, and the reason why I wouldn't bet it yet, is Doug Peterson just spoke in the last half hour and said that Trevor Lawrence could end up being a game-time decision, and he's questionable. C.J. Beathard was good enough to beat the Panthers last week. Is he good enough to beat a Titans team that we know is going to play you hard? Like Mike Vrabel, even though the Titans are sitting there with what? Where they have like 7 wins, 6 wins, but that team is always a tough out.
If I'll make this very simple. If Trevor Lawrence plays, I think they win. If he doesn't, I think they lose.
Okay.
Like, I do think that's the difference between a very tight matchup between the two. I think it's really as simple as if Trevor Lawrence can get himself on the football field, they're going to beat Tennessee. They're going to find a way to win this division. If not, if you've got you've got a parlay or you had a futures bet on Jacksonville winning the division, might be time to start looking at a hedge if for some reason come Sunday, it looks like he's not going to start. I think it really comes down to that's how thin the margin is because Vrabel will play you tough. He likes to play spoiler.
Over in the NFC, Green Bay, after all look, there was a point when they beat the Chiefs, everybody thought, oh, they're going to cruise to the playoffs. Then they lost to Tommy DeVito and the Giants, among others. So now the Packers are in a spot against Chicago on Sunday. The Packers are 8-8. The Bears are playing a lot better.
7-9, yeah.
Green Bay, here's how they get it. If they just win, Packers get in with a win. Or, again, there's a bunch of weird scenarios of ties and Minnesota loses and all that. But if the Packers win, they get in to the postseason. What do you make of this matchup? Justin Fields and the Bears look a lot better.
This is tough because Jordan Love's played himself into a little more time there in Green Bay. He's had a very nice year. They don't have a single Pro Bowler, and they're still maybe a possible playoff team, which says a little bit about how good of a job Jordan Love has done. I think the Packers will still win. I don't think that the Packers are way better than the Bears based on the way they're currently playing, but they're the better team. They've been the better team a majority of this year. And I think Jordan Love's had a nice year. I think that LaFleur's done a nice job this year. I just think Green Bay's better. So I just think they'll get the win this weekend, don't you?
Yeah, I like Green Bay because they're getting their receivers back healthy. Christian Watson's been out for multiple weeks. He's practiced for 2 straight days. The young receiver that's all of a sudden come on, Jaden Reed,
he's had
his practice. Yeah, he can't stay healthy, but he's practiced 2 straight days. Even Dontavian Wicks, this other young player that's got a lot of playing time because of injury. So I like Green Bay because they should have, it looks like, the full arsenal at running back finally with Dillon and Jones, and the full arsenal at wide receiver. So I do think Green Bay ends up winning this game.
The only other thing you got to ask yourself is if the NFC East is somehow, if after the Eagles tripped over themselves and lost to the Cardinals, if the Cowboys are going to return the favor and lose, fall flat on their face in a matchup in which they're heavily favored as well against Washington.
Yeah, they're playing the Commanders.
They're winning the division, right?
The Commanders who are going back to Sam Howell this week. What a mess. We know Ron Rivera is going to get fired on Monday. Dallas, they win, they clinch the NFC East, or if they tie and Philly ties, or if the Eagles just lose outright. But the Eagles are playing the New York Football Giants.
It's going to be a fun weekend. I know the Chiefs game doesn't matter, but I'm excited about a lot of the other games. Right? This is a great, there are a lot of other interesting games because there's 20 teams still alive for a playoff spot. Just the Chiefs game doesn't matter for anything. Doesn't change their seeding, The Chargers are worthless. Easton Stick versus Blaine Gabbert's not moving the needle for anybody. So that one's just kind of stuck in neutral. But the rest of the slate, I'm very much interested in.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll check in with our guy Pete Sweeney from Arrowhead Pride. We know the Chiefs just got done playing Cincinnati, and before that game, there was a lot of noise from Jamar Chase basically saying, right, the Chiefs don't have any corners. There's no Jalen Ramsey on that defense. That got L'Jarius Sneed and the defense fired up. We know the Chiefs shut down Jamar Chase. And then after the game, Jamar Chase was still talking how Sneed wouldn't fight him, which was a dumb comment from Chase as well. And then Chase was asked yesterday afternoon about his future in Cincinnati a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to play this clip, and then I'll tell you how what my take is on it. This is Jamar Chase meeting with people at the end of the season, as you said, about his future in Cincinnati and why he would like that to include a big bag of money with a $sign on it.
We're probably just up front, for real. Probably so, yeah.
Would you want guaranteed money in year 2?
I don't know. You're going a little too far now, buddy. I don't know. Give you a little spice. Don't take all of it.
Would you be open to taking less if it meant they could keep 2 tickets?
That's a good question. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? It depends how much I'm taking. It depends at the end of the day. Because then I might not really be taking a cut. They might cut someone else. You know what I'm saying? It might come from somewhere else.
How cognizant are you that this it looks like you and Joe are going to be the foundation of whatever this is going to be like? Like it's going to be built around you.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, make everyone else around us better. I mean, that's the whole objective. That's the reason why they got us. You know what I'm saying? We got to lead by example. They look at us as leaders, so we got to lead by example.
Okay, so he says he wants all of his money up front.
Yeah, I just wish Jamar Chase would be confident in himself.
Yeah, you know.
I just wish he would be really
only.
confident in himself.
Drew, cover your ears for just a minute. Get out.
Drew needs to get out?
Who, me?
Drew needs to get out?
The Cincinnati Bengals needs to get out. Trade Chase, get out.
Whoa, okay.
Walk.
Okay.
Run.
Okay.
Sprint. Dude, the second a player starts being like, I don't have any money left for Higgins. I need all my money up front, which is, by the way, objectively bad for the team. We all know that that's a bad structure for a team. And he's just like, he talks like he's Jerry Rice. He's a very good player. But he talks like he's one of the 5 best wide receivers of all time.
Yeah.
Get out. Walk. Pay Higgins. Pay someone else. Yeah. There's a lot of wide receivers in the draft. Move on.
You say that,
but
as
second
soon
that this came down to Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs, when he was like, I just want a big bag of money and I want to be the richest person on the planet, they're like, it was nice knowing you, Tyreek.
Yeah, I think there's differences here.
Adios.
I think there's plenty of differences here. So for starters, I hear you. And I know in Kansas City, you're supposed to just hate Jamar Chase, right? Like that's what we're supposed to do.
He makes it easy sometimes. In
I
fairness.
also think it's pretty clear if you listen to the beginning, the way he answered about saying, "Yeah, I just want it all." The way to me, he was joking around a little bit as well. He's obviously very, very confident in himself.
I would say so.
He is great. He's obviously not a Hall of Famer yet, and he's not on that pace, by the way, to be one. Maybe he will be one day. However, you saying they should trade him is absolutely insane, man.
Get out.
It's not the same as Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill was also multiple contracts in later in his career. The Chiefs still had Travis Kelce around. With all due respect to
they also had a Super Bowl title.
With all due respect to T. Higgins, who I love in Kansas City. The Chiefs had a Hall of Famer in Travis Kelce. They're like, okay, if we lose Tyreek Hill, we'll be all right, which, by the way, again, they won a Super Bowl the next year. And so I think it's a little bit different circumstance. Cincinnati needs to keep Jamar Chase there. They're going to keep Jamar Chase there. Now, maybe in 4 years, we're having a different conversation, right? Maybe at that point in time, you look at the roster makeup in Cincy, they haven't won a Super Bowl, and at that point, they're like, okay, it's time to get out. He's a little bit older. But absolutely not. That's crazy. They're not trading him, nor should they.
Get out. Drew, thoughts?
You're saying that, and then the second they say, oh, yeah, he's on the trade block, you're going to be on the show begging the Chiefs to get him as soon as possible.
You know, they'll do better job.
You know Drew's correct on that, right? He's correct on that.
Begging them to get rid of Jamar so that the Chiefs can slide in.
Would never trade Jamar Chase to the Chiefs.
You're not going to trade him to anybody,
Are
but yeah.
you kidding? It's also, I don't know if the league is going to keep going this way. This isn't as crazy as a thing as you think, as it was 2 years ago when everyone in the league decided they'll all trade their elite level wide receivers. I don't know why it happened, but all at once, everyone was like, buy A.J. Brown. That deal has been horrible for Tennessee. Buy Tyreek Hill. They won a Super Bowl the next year, so there's no way you can say it's been a horrible deal. And 2 of their
it's also worked out for Miami.
Caliber.
Yeah.
Oh, it's worked out for both. That's a win-win trade, one of the very few. And it might work out that way for Cincinnati, if they were to go down that road.
Maybe.
Look, I'm not with the text line said I'd walk on Jamar. Burrow can't stay healthy. I'm not looking to do that necessarily. It's not about Burrow's health.
Text line saying that Jamar should just say, I don't want to be there anymore, and he should just walk through. They don't want to be part of that system franchise, system quarterbacks, You know
what? Patrick Mahomes should walk, too, because he shouldn't have to deal with the wide receiver core that the Chiefs currently have.
See, the difference, Drew, is Mahomes has won these things called rings. We have these in Kansas City. We have them. They exist.
They're big, shiny. They got a bunch of diamonds in them. They're cool.
Joe Burrow has one, just not with the Cincinnati Bengals.
In college.
And high school, right?
College,
What did he lost 2 games all the way through high school and college?
That was Jake Browning.
Jamar Chase is not going anywhere, and I do think he was joking around. Now, by the way, he deserves every penny. Absolutely deserves every penny.
We've always said this. I do think players are allowed to be like, I'm not taking a discount for you. Why do I owe you a discount? But then teams are allowed to respond and kind of like, cool, we get it.
They're going to take care of Jamar.
Understand.
They're going to take care of Jamar. The question is it such a big deal? And if he truly does want money up front in a huge, huge way, which it sounds like
he also
does,
said he hopes Justin Jefferson gets a deal before he does.
He did.
Yeah.
Because he wants to get paid more than him.
Smart. I have no problem with that. But what he is saying about the guaranteed money, it will have an impact on whether or not they can do anything with T. Higgins. I mean, that's just reality. Yep. There's no way they're going to be – if Jamar needs to be, in his mind, the highest paid wide receiver –
and he wants a bunch of it up front, well, then buy T.
Then they will not be able to take care of T. Higgins on top of that. And if they do, then they're going to have major issues elsewhere on their roster.
Part of what's weird about this, and this happened a little bit again with Tyreek, but it was after the fact, even if they're lying, even when players are lying about it, because let's say Chris Jones, who's like, I want to play here for my whole career, I want to be here forever, and people are like, wait, but you also want to be the highest paid? Those two things don't compute. Normally they say the other thing, Jamar, so I guess I can either applaud him for his honesty
I appreciate the honesty.
Are you really?
I do appreciate. He's fun. He is fun. Look, doesn't mean you can't be criticized. We certainly do. But he's fun.
That's
he's
always
fun.
The mystery. He wants to be honest. I'm like, yes, but I'm still allowed to criticize the honesty sometimes.
Yeah, that's how it works. I love the fact that he likes to talk. It's entertaining. It's great content. But also, when you're talking after losing again to the Chiefs, people are gonna be critical of it and call you out for it. That's how this works.
I mean, along with that conversation too, outside of just the money side of things, I think he was asked in that little conversation by his locker, knowing this could be potentially the last game with Tyler Boyd and maybe even T. Higgins, what's your mindset going in? He was like, I'm just trying to enjoy every moment that we have together, because we never know when it's going to stop. So, I mean, that Tyler Boyd's going to be gone. It's just hearing him say that as well as who knows what they're going to do. I think realistically, they tag T. Higgins, and then after next year, he will walk and be unrestricted, and whoever can sign him wants to sign him.
I mean, for T, it's not all that bad because you get the $16 million or $20 million, and he'll still be like a 25-year-old free agent wide receiver.
Well, and if
he's not coming off a particularly good year this year.
Exactly. If he can get through next season and he's healthy, and then their production, he could potentially get even more money. I mean, it's not. We're going to talk about it later. It's not actually as good of a free agent wide receiver class as everybody makes it out to be.
No, it's not. It's not particularly great.
Because
Gabe Davis might be the 5th best available wide receiver. It's better than last year's.
Yeah, but Michael Pittman Jr. probably is not getting out of ND. T. Higgins maybe gets out of Cincy. And then, after that, you're talking about Mike Evans, who will be 31 in August, who's going to get paid, don't worry. And we'll have all offseason to talk about Mike Evans. I'm a little concerned about giving a multi-year deal to a guy that'll be 31 before the start of the season. But he's incredible. I'll give him that. I mean, he doesn't look like he's lost anything, but, you got to be worried about what 2 years looks like from now.
I do wonder, because the Chiefs wide receiver, this is going to be a bigger offseason conversation, but just real quickly, since we're talking about the Chiefs wide receiver, Jamar Chase, because of Rashee Rice, they're in a really interesting spot where, because you're on the last couple of years of Travis Kelce dominance, hypothetically, because just how long he'll be in the league. If you brought in Evans, a true number 1 wide receiver in this league for a very long time, to pair with a hopefully continuing developing Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, that is a really good receiver unit for a couple of years of just going for rings. You'd still haven't solved any of your long-term problems, and there's no doubt about that. But for a couple of years, if you're just about rings, that ain't all that bad of a way to set yourself up.
It's not. I think, again, I know you don't like when I bring up Travis Kelce and what production could be a year or so
I know
from
that
now.
It's reliant on Kelce staying similar and Rashee Rice getting a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean,
just one of the two, really, honestly.
Can you go into even next season thinking, and I know he's 16 yards away from another 1,000-yard and 8
and
straight.
The text line pointed out he should have already had 1,000 yards if Kadarius Toney had just lined up on side. That was a 24-yard completion before he passed it over.
Yes. The question will be, can you go into next season banking on 1,000 yards again? And I'm not so sure you can. Now, if Travis Kelce next year even has 800, but other guy, like, you can live with that totally. It still puts him as like a top 2 tight end in football if he does that, or 3, I think, this year, because Sam Laporta's legit. Because Laporta and Kittle had big-time years, so I guess you'd be 3 or 4. You can live with Kelce next year being the 3rd receiving yardage-wise best tight end in football, as long as you got the other pieces in the wide receiver room. You can't have him drop off 300 yards next year, 200 yards next year if
God, I
your
just don't
wide
think
receiver.
that'll happen. But yeah, I understand.
It's very possible, though, man.
Like the other guys like Laporta and Hawkinson, these guys we consider like, and everyone's like, this is like the Lamar MVP thing. It'd be like, God, Kittle's having such an incredible year. He's got like 40 yards more than Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce stinks.
Yeah, that
man's
narrative
getting
is
old.
crazy.
Get him off the field. He has 40 less yards than George Kittle.
Yeah, we've seen a ton of.
That's it.
I think a lot of the Travis Kelce, like people calling him washed, is just the whole Taylor Swift crap that people.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
It started again in September, and it was like, oh, it's a fake marketing ploy, and then it clearly is real. Heck, they might get engaged in the next 6 months. Who knows? And then it went
I
from.
told you. I said that was going to happen inside a year.
Then it went from being fake to, just people now just sick of it, to then now people are trying to act like he's having a bad season because of her. All of it is ridiculous. For whatever reason, people hate other people being happy. That's what we've learned
I
even
like
more.
people being happy, personally.
But that's what I've learned more in the last couple months about this whole situation.
Although someone did send me a video of, I saw a video that made me be like, boy, I wished for some happiness for you. Did you see that video of X Factor yesterday?
He got arrested, right? For allegedly doing something. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know if we should play the audio or not on this show because of other audio. But in this video, he says
how did we get to X Factor?
He's banned from the stadium currently, as you know, after his fight with Red Extreme. He claims that he's going to go to the game anyway, dressed up as a different superfan.
Oh gosh.
Then he claims that, and I'm not kidding, Derek Johnson, Eric Berry, and he names 7 other players have called the Chiefs on his behalf. To end his band at Arrowhead. So that should be coming to an end soon.
Says that I'm a meth addict, which I'm a cocaine addict.
It's bleak.
So you guys have WWE names for these.
We don't name them.
Red Extreme and
We
X
don't
Factor.
name 'em.
These
Dude,
are WWE guys.
We don't mess around with superfans in this city.
Jeez.
It is a weird, wild time.
Up next.
I'll play the video for you in the break. You should see it.
Yeah, we'll talk to our guy Pete Sweeney of Arrowhead Pride. Ask him how he sees Sunday going from just an incentive basis, an injury basis, heading into the matchup against the Chargers.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
Hey guys, Beat Up here from Fesco in the Morning. It's that time of the year when we all make those New Year's resolutions to lose weight and get healthy. Unfortunately, when you're going at it alone, most of us will fail. I'm here with my girl Leanne, the manager of the Slim for Life Overland Park location, who has made all the difference in my success, literally saving my life 1 pound at a time. Leanne, let's share how Slim for Life can help make 2024 the year to win at weight loss.
Absolutely, B-Dub. For New Year's resolutions, for so many people, doing weight loss alone is difficult, having nobody there to motivate you, walk the walk with you, do the journey. So coming into the center and having that positive interaction with your counselor is so important, especially during the holiday season too as well. When you have special events coming up, we give great alternatives so you can enjoy yourself. Nobody has to know that you're trying to lose weight, but yet you're super, super successful.
Right now, you can lose up to 100 pounds for only $99. Call and book your free consultation today. 833-SLIM today. That's the number you need to call. Or you can hit them online at slim4life.com. All services included, exclusive of products.
There is a brand new Other Place location in Mission, Kansas, and let me tell you, it is absolutely beautiful. It is the perfect place to stop by, grab a drink after work, catch a happy hour, catch a playoff game, or watch a little college basketball. If you're looking for a place to watch the game, you got to stop by the brand new Other Place in Mission.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody. QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
I was super successful, and I
recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Get the home field advantage every time with Fairfield by Marriott, official hotel partner of the NCAA. Whether you're a student athlete working toward your championship dreams or your team's biggest fan, Fairfield by Marriott has everything you need to get ready for game day. From comfortable guest rooms to complimentary hot breakfast, Fairfield is part of the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio of hotels and official hotel partner of the NCAA. Visit fairfield.marriott.com to book your next game day stay.
Start the new year off with a bang of big savings during the Omaha Steaks end-of-season event. You can stock up on all your favorites and get 50% off site-wide. That's 50% off perfectly aged tender steaks, juicy burgers, decadent desserts, and even classic comfort meals. Go to omahasteaks.com, and when you use code SIZZLE at checkout, you'll get an extra $30 off your order. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code SIZZLE at checkout for an extra $30 off your order. Minimum purchase may apply.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Subscribe to the 610 Sports KC YouTube page for exclusive video content from Cody and Gold on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs and your home for Royals baseball. 610 Sports Radio. KCSB Kansas City. WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Pete Sweeney. 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 Pete Sweeney.
It is that time of the week where we check in with our guy Pete Sweeney from Arrowhead Pride. He's presented by Mark Ferguson, the attorney that's been helping KC sports fans with all their legal needs since 1996. Integrity, results, that's Mark Ferguson. Pete Sweeney also not only is the editor-in-chief at Arrowhead Pride, he might be one of the most successful bettors in the last week in the Kansas City area.
Yep, it's been a fortunate 10 or so days when it comes to that type of thing. But you can't get ahead of yourself, right? I mean, it'll come down eventually.
Is it still going?
Oh, we're keeping it up.
Okay.
We're trying to continue to do what we can, but yeah, it's an up and down game. So you got to remember the downtrend will come. So
that's right.
I'm still disappointed in Pete. He was supposed to come to the family in between game. Came last year.
Yeah.
He ditched me. I don't know. Is he some sort of emergency?
Well, because he's
something?
winning. He's on.
He doesn't want to take his money.
He's on a heater right now.
Once Travis Kelce did SNL, he was a little different. That's how I feel after my heater. I just can't be going to things like that anymore, Cody. I'm sorry.
Why? Is it because we said F the Sweeneys? Is that it? Just tell me the truth. That was one thing. That was one time.
Family, there was a time, and this is a real story, where the Tapp family, the entire Tapp family, chanted F the Sweeneys, and they said the word. That's the type of
I wouldn't show up anymore either. I wouldn't show up anymore either.
That was after they took like $1,000 off the table. Give us a break. Pete, we can't actually talk about this game much this weekend because there's not that much to learn out of the actual opponent. But like when we look at what the rest of the league is going to do, I do think that what I saw against Cincinnati told me that at least when they're motivated, Like, Cincinnati properly motivated them, and then they went out and they pretty easily handled Cincinnati, even though it could have cost them the division. I feel like maybe the playoffs can still re-energize this team. Not this game, not the game against the Chargers, but moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything momentum-wise to be gained from something that is an event between Blaine Gabbert and Easton Stick. I mean, it doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter. It's the equivalent of a preseason game 4, and I think the Chiefs will treat it as such. You have Rashee Rice and Isaiah Pacheco. They're in the injury report, and their ailments have kind of led me to believe that they'll probably just sit out. Maybe if they were healthier, they would try to reach 1,000 yards each. I know they're both within range, but there's no reason to chase that. Maybe a little bit of a different story from Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, but this is the type of game where the key is making sure that your reserve players who are going to be taking most of the snaps don't get hurt, because we've seen injuries in the playoffs. Sometimes you need these guys, and so get through the game. You try your best to put some good film out there for next year, and you try to come out with a win. But regardless of what happens, it just simply does not matter at all. So the Chiefs should rest whoever is ailing.
Much like a preseason game, you're always looking for that young piece maybe to be excited about going forward. And so Felix Anudike-Uzomah figures to get a lot of playing time, but I just have no expectations still, even in this game, for him. Like, if he doesn't do much in this game, it doesn't really change anything for me. How do you view, or what do you expect from FAU?
Yeah, I think the story has gotten a little bit too much play. And like, sometimes I agree that things should have more attention than others, but I think where Kansas City selected Felix, I think they wanted to take him in the second round. I mean, there were reports, and you can kind of tell from press conferences and stuff that they might have been trying to trade out of the round. Kind of thought that they could get him in the second round, and so I know he was taken in the first with that final pick. But for me, I've always kind of looked at him as a second round guy, which for me is almost a developmental player, especially at that position. And I also think that Kansas City has some good players at that position that are veterans right now, and they have a good line. And so it afforded him the year to get stronger, in an NFL lifting program, to learn some tricks of the trade. And not a ton of snaps this year, but this will be actually a game where you could look at him and say, well, what have you been doing behind the scenes, right? And I think you're in for a good performance, much like the offensive side of the football. I think when you're in for more snaps and more playing time, you can get in a little bit of a rhythm. There's that battle with the opposing offensive lineman that I think there's an edge to being able to be out in the field consistently, and I think he'll have a strong game. And, granted, I don't think one game will make or break him, but it'll feel a lot better, after a season kind of in the shadows, being able to put some productive film out there, and you build on that for 2024 when we kind of expect Chris Jones to move on, and the Chiefs are going to need him to be a player. And so let's see what he's been doing all year.
It also feels like, as Cody was mentioning, we were talking about Justin Ross. Like, this is the game where maybe Justin Ross gets a touchdown or has a strong performance, and what the reaction's going to be when that happens, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that, we're saying the game doesn't matter, and that's true. But I think for these reserve guys who we're discussing, you could play yourself into, I think, contributor roles in the postseason. Like, I don't think Justin Ross can do anything to go out there on Sunday, and then all of a sudden the Chiefs are going to change their entire game plan and feature him as, with the snaps of Rashee Rice. However, if he goes out there and performs, and let's say, hypothetically here, in the red zone, they throw it up to him on a fade, and on a 50-50 ball, he comes down with it, then maybe you do see some plays drawn up in the postseason in the red zone for Justin Ross, kind of what we predicted for him in training camp. So I think if you're looking for anything legitimate that can be gained from this game that'll mean something in the postseason, it's these guys playing for Andy Reid's eyebrows. Because if Andy Reid's eyebrows go up, and suddenly he says, okay, maybe we should be using this guy, then I think you could have a role in the postseason. And we saw last year in the championship season just how important role players were. I mean, Sky Moore had a tough year when it came to the returns, and he had that key return in the AFC title game, also the touchdown in the Super Bowl. Same thing with Kadarius Toney, where, and not necessarily a wide receiver, but those returns were big. I think there are roles to be earned, playoff roles to be earned on Sunday for some of these reserve guys.
Pete, when you listen to Matt Nagy and Andy Reid this week, did you get kind of the same sense I did, where I felt like they were in a way admitting the complementary football into this? Like, look, we want to be aggressive and we want to score a lot of points, but because of the defense, we're not going to go over the top on that department and cost ourselves a football game. I kind of felt like that's what Nagy was saying yesterday.
Well, they've simplified things down. I mean, they've kind of admitted that. That was kind of my takeaway from hearing both of these guys. And we saw the production that the offense was able to have in doing so. And so I think they're going to continue in that fashion where, it's a simplified version of the offense. It's not overcomplicating things. You have young players that are starting to come into their own in advanced ways on their own. So like Rashee Rice, as we've kind of talked about that long touchdown, he kind of decided himself, I see I have leverage on this play. I'm just going to go and it worked out. And so I think, that's putting more trust into the players. It's letting them go play and use their athletic abilities. And I think that, with Reed and Nagy, I think they're understanding, look, we don't need to score 35 points like we have in the past. We probably just need to get around 24. And that's going to extend to the postseason. And I think that's been fans' frustration this whole year is like, this isn't the offense we're used to. And that's 100% true. But it doesn't mean that they can't win key football games. It's just going to look a little different. It's going to be a little bit more boring. No other way to say it. Running the football, playing good defense, being smart with possessions, using Tommy Townsend to flip the field. But in the end, you can win that way. I mean, that's what I think has been lost the entire year. I mean, you can win that way. It hasn't been as fun. For sure. I mean, being the 3 seed is not as fun as being the number 1 seed. But, once the dance starts, everyone's 0-0. And so they can play that game and win their way to the Super Bowl.
I don't disagree. And normally for all the comparisons we've made to like the Patriots dynasty, they won a lot of games in the playoffs that way, Pete. But they did one thing that the Chiefs aren't doing, that not give the ball away. Like, I mean, is there some way in which at this point, it's like, they can't fix it. It's like kind of how they are. They have 9 games of 2 or more turnovers, 2, Pete, in which they've not turned the ball over. How do they eliminate that part or half of it? Because to me, if in any game they don't turn the ball over, 99% win rate, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know. Like, and I think a lot of the times we'll ask the coaches, like, how do you improve turnovers? And they're just like befuddled. And I think sometimes we'll point to the coaches and say, well, there's no accountability here. Like, I think the players are not trying to pop the football up and get intercepted. Like, I really think that, like, there shouldn't necessarily need to be a coaching point on that. It's like it's the simple Pee-wee lessons of high and tight, right? Don't catch with your body. Like, these are things that these guys have been hearing forever. It's been an unfortunate year when it comes to turnovers. And what I will say about the postseason, and I felt this way, as we go here, is sure, like, I think the Chiefs can come out of the AFC just like anybody. They have way less margin for error because of everything we're talking about. And so, I was saying for weeks that I think they could get bought by the wild card, kind of have what they've been playing. But if that's the Bills or the Dolphins, it starts in the wild card. If they turn the football over twice, they're going to lose. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And so that becomes even more an emphasis here and now. And I don't think it's anything then, not the coaches, but the players just have to not turn the football over. And like, you've been learning how to not turn the football over since you started playing the game. And so that's kind of how I feel. I mean, and now it's up to them. It's up to them, and they have to take care of the football or they're not going to do anything this year.
Since you're rolling in the dough right now, I figured you're a perfect person to ask this question to. I saw the Seattle Seahawks rookie dinner receipt went viral. It cost the rookies $22,000 for their rookie dinner last night. So what's the most expensive dinner you've bought? And I guess, are you planning on having a nice dinner this weekend with your girlfriend? Because, again, you're rolling in the dough.
Well, this is why I can't go to Cody's thing tonight. We rescheduled. For everyone that doesn't know, I won't say the number, but I had a very big single game parlay.
Very nice.
So we're going to
very nice parlay.
We're going to the Capitol Grill tonight.
Hey, okay.
So we have
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you also have had a hit and you're out there tonight and you want to have a chat about the Chiefs, don't be shy. Come on up and say hey.
Okay. Well, that'll be a good tab then.
It was burning a hole in your pocket. You were ready to go.
Look, I don't want. I'm not going to share his business. It's his business to share, but he can definitely take care of Capitol Grill tonight, based off of how well he's done recently. That's no problem at all.
It's been a nice stretch. Hopefully, we can kind of keep a little bit of that going.
There you go. All right, Pete. Appreciate it, man.
All right, take care, guys.
There you go. Pete Sweeney, our Chiefs insider, the editor-in-chief over at Arrowhead Pride. He is on a heater. He was on the show with me last Wednesday when we were kind of doing the guest hosting show out at Hollywood, and he was already on a heater before that. And then it just got ridiculous on Thursday Night Football.
Just cruising in?
Yeah. Just absurd. Just absurd.
Good for Pete.
Yeah, no, he should go have a nice dinner with his girlfriend tonight, and he is.
And after dinner, he should come and
What's
gamble.
the most expensive
meal I've ever purchased?
Yeah. Not for like a family of 5. I mean, like truly for your tab. Like, or for one other person.
300 maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably
for
like
me,
the most expensive
this is
dinner
cheating a
for
little
two
bit.
people. That's probably the number.
This is cheating a little bit because you're going to say, well, obviously you spend differently when it's not your money, right? And right, so when I had a deal when I was in Boise with Ruth's Chris, which used to be in Kansas City. They're all over. They don't have any locations here anymore. And because of that, just me. I was like, oh, I'm going to have drinks and I'm going to have an appetizer and dessert. And it was about $245 just for me. But that's cheating because that was I would not have done that normally. That was because I had a thing set up with them.
That's about so individually, that's probably close. Because one time on the on a boss's dime, a previous boss's dime, they were like, no, just go to this. They had a reservation at a restaurant. They're like, no, take it, whatever. Let's figure out what it is, right? And then he was like, no. It was like when I went there, like the cheapest steak on the menu was like $110.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't get the cheapest.
I'd still say there's nothing better than just a phenomenal steak.
That's top 10 for you?
There's just nothing better than just an extremely well done, not well done as in like temperature, but a steak that's well done. I like my steak medium, by the way. Don't worry. But,
that would be depressing.
Yeah. By the way, yeah.
A well-prepared steak.
Thank you. Yeah, I know
careful on the wording. Someone's going to think you're out here spending $200 on a well-done steak.
No. We get our steaks medium. Thank you very much. Do not ruin a $200 or $150 steak by getting it well done. Please don't do that.
No,
that's just a waste at that point. Someone says 801 Chop House was $400. Yeah, I'm not surprised. There's some very nice, really good steakhouses here in Kansas City.
I don't have $400 dinner money very often, you know?
If you hit the parlay Pete did last week,
that'd be different. I'm aware of the amount that Pete won. If I had hit that amount, I probably also would be buying a very nice dinner for my girlfriend, or in his case, girlfriend, my case.
Someone else, though, that might have a little extra money in their pocket is Will Howard, and we can say that now about college athletes. Everything's above board there. That's because Will Howard committed to Ohio State. We all know the former K-State quarterback had a great career at K-State. Now he's got a chance to go win a national championship. He also has like the 5th best odds to win the Heisman Trophy next year, Cody. That's what going to Ohio State will do for you. It'll be really interesting to see how his career ends, but he's got a chance to become a legend suddenly at Ohio State if they end up having a special season. That's also why his Heisman odds are good. Good for him. You know he's probably getting well over $1 million in NIL money now. So props to Will Howard. I think this is the example for as much as we or anybody talks about the transfer portal, the positives and negatives, because there are some negatives, this is the perfect example of why it's great. This kid goes to K-State, has success, but
wins a conference title, has some success. Yeah.
But obviously they recruit over him to a certain extent with Avery Johnson, who looks like the real deal already. Like just in that, I mean, like you can tell why they're excited about Avery Johnson.
Exactly.
At K-State. And yet he then gets an opportunity to go transfer to one of the most prestigious college football programs in the country.
And be the starting quarterback for a team that will, like they do every year, have national title expectations going into it. It's great for Will Howard. It really is. You're right. For all the, like, it's easy to point out the ones where you're like, I can't believe that guy would, like, you know, sometimes it's like you're the leading interception guy or the starting quarterback for a team, and they're not planning on not making you the starting quarterback, but you leave anyway. This is just an example of a guy who needed a new home because they were going to move to Avery Johnson. He seemed like he's going to be like a late round pick in the NFL draft, but instead he gets to go be the quarterback for Ohio State and have top 7 or 8 Heisman Trophy odds. That's cool. That's really, really cool for Will Howard. I will say he better anticipate a completely different level of expectation.
Oh, yeah, criticism.
K-State comes with criticism. People love the Wildcats, and I am not pretending that. Kyle McCord got his team within 1 game of getting himself near a college football playoff and a national championship, and they buried his ass. They were ready to run him out of town.
Now, the one good thing for Will Howard, this is one and done, right? I mean, he's done after this. So, like, you
could end a hero in Ohio State.
Yeah. Now, Will Howard, so Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe are the favorites right now to win the Heisman next year at 750. Dylan Gabriel, 10-1. Then it's Will Howard at 15-1. So he has, what is that, the 6th best odds?
The good thing for him,
fifth best odds.
Is that Ohio State's schedule favorable for next year compared to Michigan, who plays a dreadful schedule. The hardest games for Ohio State next year at Oregon and then Michigan at home. and at Penn State. That's it. I mean, for all the realignment stuff, they play Indiana, they play Northwestern, they play Purdue, they play Nebraska. I mean, very favorable schedule for the Buckeyes.
And you can do 2 losses now and still be in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect if you're Will Howard to get in the dance. You just have to be good enough in the Big Ten.
Yeah, as long as they're the right teams, you can get by with 2 losses easily. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't lose to Indiana and Purdue and then those be the 2 losses.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if the other wins are against the teams we mentioned.
Sure.
Maybe
Well,
you can.
That's why yesterday I put a bet in on Missouri at 50-1 to win the national title. Hopefully for a hedge
Can you
opportunity.
imagine?
It's not even, like I said, it's not even so much that I actually think they're winning the national title, but I think they can make the college football playoff, and then I feel good about my situation to hedge with the Missouri. So, no, I did. I put a couple bucks on Missouri to win the Natty, and I'm probably going to do a few bucks on KU, because if KU were to win the Big 12 or finish second, they got a chance to get in as a 12. I understand people can laugh all they want, but it is a real possibility now with the 12-team playoff, and if you're holding a 50-1 or a 200-1 ticket in KU's case, yeah, you can hedge once they get in.
And with if they win the conference, they could. Would you rather KU have a bye or to host a playoff game next year in Lawrence?
Wow, so
because
actually,
if you get a bye, you do not host.
Here's the thing. My answer is actually a bye. The stadium's under construction. They can only hold 25,000. They might be playing games at Arrowhead, and conflict-wise, may not have to work. So my answer actually specifically next year is the bye. Absolutely. Normally, I would say the campus thing would be incrediyou're
But that's the thing. If you're in any of if you're in the Big 12, you can assume that your top 2 teams are getting in the playoffs. If you're in the SEC, you can probably assume your top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
If you're in the Big 10, you can assume the top 3 or 4.
Trash of the day.
All right, let's get to this one. This was a no-brainer once I saw it come across the feed yesterday. Comes from the Associated Press. Some of you maybe have seen this story circulating around. It's that big of a story, and it involves a pretty big company. A customer in Orlando, Florida, has filed a negligence lawsuit against Dunkin', claiming he was injured by an exploding toilet at one of the coffee chain's locations in Central Florida. This gentleman named Paul is seeking more than $100,000 in a lawsuit filed Wednesday in state court. He claims he suffered, quote, severe and long-term injuries following the explosion of a toilet in the men's room of a Dunkin' location in Winter Park, Florida, a year ago. After the explosion, it left this gentleman covered in human feces, urine, debris. He walked out of the men's room seeking help from the worker and store manager. According to the lawsuit, an employee told him that they were aware of the problem with the toilet since there had been previous incidents. The lawsuit says, without diving into further details about the explosion. So he suffered bodily injury, has required mental health counseling since the incident.
Okay, so I said this about the David Tepper cop.
Literally,
I would just be going to see a psychotherapist
the toilet
immediately.
exploded.
Look, I think you got a real lawsuit there.
Absolutely.
If a toilet exploded on me
and you're covered
public bathroom, I'd be going through some mental distress too.
And you're covered.
I'd never feel clean again, dude. How many showers? How many showers till you felt right? Or how long of a single shower?
I don't think you're
30
ever getting,
minutes? 45 minutes?
I don't think you're ever getting that smell out of your nostrils.
At least 10 showers.
Ugh. It'd be awful.
And you just smelling soap. Just
human feces, urine, and debris. Oh, God.
Just covered in chocolate glaze. Awful.
Jeez.
Also, why are you just ignoring a problem? How many times did this toilet explode? People. The guy said he was aware of other incidents with the toilet.
It's the first time the toilet exploded. But other toilets maybe was overflowing.
Or he's been to this Dunkin' enough where something was bound to happen with this specific toilet. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think you're just going to have to pay that man the money. I don't know what to tell you. That sounds like a pretty...
Just settle out of court. Move on. Be done with it. You don't want to go to court for that.
I mean... you don't want to go to court for that? You don't want to have to sit up in front of a jury and talk about the... Dude, every single member of the jury would have to say, if you were on a jury, right? I got called in for jury duty. Remember the one time? I didn't get selected, but I got called in the one time. If a guy was like, man, I cannot sleep thinking about that moment when a toilet exploded feces, I mean, be like, I mean, that's hard to imagine that guy's making that up.
I mean, what's their defense? It sounds like the employee admitted that they knew there was issues with the toilet. This gentleman, you can't really fake being covered in what.
No.
So they got
cameras
just go
in
look. There? Nobody's denying the toilet exploded. I don't know how. I mean, this seems like a pretty simple one.
There's no amount of $
$100,000 doesn't even seem like.
No,
Is that enough?
No.
I'm suing for more. A lot of emotional distress.
I think a lot of these times they'd be like, hey, we're really sorry about the customer service. How about $100? Like, could you imagine how much money they'd have to give you to Dunkin' in order to make this go away? $100,000, it'd take you a lifetime to spend it.
I'll never want. If you're this guy, if you're this guy, you're never going to Dunkin' the rest of your life.
If something like this happened, if like an incident, like let's say you had a little slip and fall at Chipotle. They gave you a $10,000 Chipotle gift card. Did you get in the lawyer?
A slip and fall? A slip and fall? They would also have had to not have the sign out that they just watched the They would have to have done a lot of other things.
I'm saying a classic slip and fall. They throw out a $1,000 Chipotle gift card. You keeping your mouth shut?
It depends. Did I break my neck?
No. You're just, like mild injuries, like twisted ankle.
Well, then they're not giving me anything.
High ankle sprain.
Then they're not giving me anything. You would have to fall and break your neck, and you'd have to have proof that they mop
your neck. We're going.
Like
to
they mop the floor and then put the sign up or something, and they intentionally, you know what I mean? Like it would have to show negligence or something like that. Someone is right though. If you're using the toilet to do what this gentleman was doing at a fast food place, there is a little risk
Sometimes
involved.
emergency,
Now look, I never would think
sometimes emergencies come up.
I never would think the toilet's going to explode on me though. Now,
that's not the kind of emergency. Yeah, that's not what I think's going to happen.
But you're still like, this toilet may not work. It could also just be disgusting. You're just not thinking the toilet literally is just going to explode. It's like something out of a movie.
Like
the toilet just
cherry bomb in it.
blows up. Oh, goodness. Also, I wouldn't want to ever get food from that same Dunkin' either. From anybody,
no way.
like anybody in the area. I would never go to that Dunkin' again. I don't want my food there. They got toilets exploding in that place.
There's food here. Yeah. Oh, man. $100,000 does seem like you're getting out pretty easy. I say just pay and walk away. Pay and get out. Someone says Cody was on a track for a life of crime and con artistry until someone from radio changed his life. I got into radio late, too. Gold and I have been in radio the same amount of time, but we are 7 years different in age.
Just got started at different times.
So, we started going to college and doing radio at a similar time, but I'm 7 years older than you. So this person might be onto something. I might have been heading down a completely different road.
So what do they mean by the toilet exploded? Like, picture it.
Like a volcano coming out of the toilet, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like in a movie when they put a cherry bomb down one,
and
right?
debris. So it wasn't just the urine and feces.
Shards of toilet.
Yeah, like the toilet exploded. Like the pressure, the water pressure. Again, a movie you've seen, right? Like, and everything. I mean, yeah, like that noise that the microphone just made. That noise, partially.
Yeah. Man, tough.
I
mean, just pay the 100. Pay the 100. Move on with your life.
Someone says, Fesco in the morning talked about this and said the guy was asking for 50. No, the article says 100K. Yeah, the article says 100K. Maybe it's 50 for one thing and 50. Like, don't
50
they split
for
damages
physical and for
then,
emotional.
Yeah, there's there's punitive damages and all. There's difference. Anyway. All right. That's the trash of the day. Coming up next, it's the Chiefs Red half hour. We'll get back into one thing we can still count on come playoff time.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
If you're someone that wears contacts or glasses, like I used to be, you've probably at some point thought about, and it would be pretty nice not to have to look for my glasses in the morning, not to knock over the water on the nightstand searching for the glasses. I've definitely done that before. Maybe pack those contacts, remember to take out the contacts. All of that was part of my daily life until May of 2021. I called DuraVision. I went in for my free consultation. I found out I was a candidate for SBK Advanced LASIK. 2 days later, I was having my procedure. The very next day, I was driving right back into work. And right now, they have their friends and family offer, providing a savings of up to $1,000 on LASIK. This is for a limited time only. Think about this. It's typically reserved for family members of their surgery patients only, but now you can take advantage of it as well. Give DuraVision a call at 913-491-3330 or go online to duravision.com and tell them Gold from 610 sent you.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Why settle for a percentage of your home's equity when you can have it all with TrueHold? Let me explain. A typical cash-out refi restricts you to a percentage of your home's equity while saddling you with thousands in closing costs. and thousands more in today's high-interest payments over the life of your loan. Truehold, on the other hand, buys your home for its best current value and pays you 100% of your hard-earned equity in cash now. Truehold is the cheapest way to unlock your equity for whatever you want. Plus, you have the option to stay in your home for as long as you'd like, while Truehold takes care of property taxes, insurance, and upkeep. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will pay for your home based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. That's Truehold.com.
Hey, it's Laszlo. Pizza Tassio, the king of Kansas City's New York-style pizza scene, is taking KC by storm. Pizza Tassio uses the highest quality ingredients handcrafted by KC natives who are passionate about creating the best New York-style pies. Now open in Overland Park, Lee Summit, Midtown, North KC, St. Joe, Waldo, and Lawrence. And in December, when you order the special pepperoni pie, you're entered to win tickets to the Christmas Day game. Order now at PizzaTassio.com. That's pizza, Tascio.com. The taste that's conquering KC, one slice at a time.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service and always the best price on airport parking at bookparkandgo.com. No hassles when you Park & Go. For decades, the Park & Go family has strived to be the friendly airport parking lot in the markets they serve. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Fast and hassle-free, the way airport parking should be. Located right off of Cookingham and North Ambassador Drive. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Don't miss out on limited time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader. Like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
My car!
but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
All right, it is the Chiefs Red Half Hour as the Chiefs get set to take on the Chargers. It's a Red Friday here on Cody and Gold. Reminder, Club 610 coming up at 1 o'clock today. Our guy Aaron Ladd from 41 going to join us. Club 610 brought to you by Jay Rieger & Co. Here in about 15 minutes, we'll play you the latest audio from a Chiefs super fan.
I played it for you in the break.
Yeah, oh, it's an all-timer. It's an all-timer. It really is. I can't wait to play it for everybody. You may have seen it if you're on Instagram. But
Text, I was asking where it is. We'll play some of the audio.
Yeah, it's on Instagram, but we'll play it for you. Coming up towards the end of the Chiefs Red Half Hour. And Drew's not familiar with the long history of super fans. All Drew knows is a bank robber and soon to be this individual.
And he's heard Red Extreme. He said he sounds like they're WWE wrestlers.
Yep.
I think that's all super fan names.
I'm just saying the names sound like WWE wrestlers. I haven't heard Red Extreme. I did listen to the X Factor. I did listen to the whole thing. Very interesting.
He admits to several crimes, just for starters.
Yeah.
Just as a tease. He admits to several crimes. He then says several very bold lies. And then admits to like future crimes he's thinking about committing.
And the reason he's committing the crimes is because he's back.
Yeah.
Well, let's not spoil the whole thing. We'll get
Okay,
we'll,
sorry.
we'll play
I was pretty vague there.
We'll play the audio coming up in like 10, 15 minutes or so.
Sounds good.
How about that?
Sounds good. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, we're getting into these debates about, hey, do we start talking about the Chiefs playoff stuff now? Well, I don't know their opponent. So I know what their problems are. So if you want me to break down the fact that they drop the ball way too damn much, they give the ball away too much in addition to it, and then have too many penalties, we can do that again, or we can wait till they get their opponent. But in the last game, I actually did see something that gave me a little bit of reassurance about where they are, which is, for the first time maybe all year, I saw a motivated Chiefs team, and from start to finish, that was a game they controlled as good as any game they've controlled all year. They were the sayer. They were the demander in that game. And I know that for the first 8 minutes, maybe it didn't feel that way or whatever, but for the other 52, it sure as hell did. And that's because I think they were motivated. I do think you could go back through, and we didn't see this in a lot of years, but I think there's some part of like we're not playing well, coupled with this is the regular season, so why should I care the amount that I should care? And they've let themselves get a little too loose. I think I saw a team that what they look like when they are motivated and focused is a lot better. And the playoffs are around the corner, and I think can provide that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I look at that. Motivated, whether it was against Cincinnati or not, they were coming off such a bad loss, man. It was one of the worst losses we had seen in a very long time to the Raiders on Christmas Day.
It was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It's the worst game I've ever. Remember earlier this year we did what's the worst game in the Patrick Mahomes era?
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah.
We don't need to go back to the other ones that we were like arguing over earlier in the year. It's that one.
And so you're coming off that performance, and suddenly it was getting a little questionable for your playoff standing in terms of, are you going to be a 3 seed? Are you going to fall back to a 4? Are you going to be a wild card team? Like, those were real conversations that were starting to creep in. And I think that led to a lot of the motivation, because it truly was like, okay, we gotta jump on this thing, and there's no question of boredom or anything. I don't think the boredom thing is an angle this year at all. We had talked about that years prior where they were just cruising through. This has just been a frustrating season, I'm sure, for everybody inside of that locker room, and certainly the guys that have been part of the years like Kelsey and Mahomes when things they made it look easy, right? And the offense was high flying. And so I think there was something to be said of following up what was a horrific performance with the performance when if you drop that one to Cincinnati, we'd be talking about the Chiefs having to go win at L.A. this weekend just to get in.
Yeah. And could you have imagined that nightmare scenario? And I get it, like Mahomes against Easton Stick, that should be a lock.
Right.
But how could you say after they lost the Raiders game, I lost all faith.
Play,
I lost a lot of faith in this team. Not all, but a lot of faith in this team based on the way that they showed up in that game. And honestly, someone could have just been that it was Christmas Day and they showed up and they're like, screw it, this team stinks, and we're just going to run over them. And then they got dominated in the trenches like I haven't seen them dominated in years.
Yeah.
Probably since that Tampa Bay Super Bowl.
Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that then also against Cincinnati, Jawan Taylor had his best game as a Chief this past week. And again, that's following up what was a terrible offensive line performance.
It was just the way they were talking about it. The motivation coming off of the trash talk from Jamar Chase, Minihue after the game saying, this team doesn't do early exits. I think they can finally taste the postseason again. And it was hard this year because there were a lot of times, Gold, when it didn't feel like they were going to get the 1. You weren't sure about the 2. They had things to play for, but it was still not the same way they have things to play for as they would under normal circumstances. And I think they lost some of that and got a little bit of it back, at least on that end. I do think that they might have found a little bit of their motivation back, their swag back a little, which this team desperately needed after that Raiders game and just generally how this season's gone.
Yeah, and look, I wonder, too, will we be talking about once the matchup's set? It's going to depend on the matchup. But if it's Buffalo or if it's Miami as the 3-6 matchup that ends up being that at Arrowhead, there will be plenty of people nationally that will be counting the Chiefs out if that happens. And by the way, I understand why, but
sure,
that will happen. When people start doubting the Chiefs, and again, I'm not saying people shouldn't doubt them. They have given plenty of ammunition for that. But that's also at times in the past where we've seen them go out and have some of their best performances. Now, if they're playing Pittsburgh, I don't think anybody's going to pick the Steelers.
And they don't have to have their best performance to beat the Steelers.
Right.
Although the Steelers do get a lot of teams they shouldn't, so who knows?
But if it is, against Buffalo or Miami, and plenty of people will pick them to lose in that game, in a weird way, that kind of fits into the old narrative we've discussed with the team as well.
Yeah, it does. And look, It's not out of the question that if they face one of those two teams, they're getting knocked out in the wild card round after hosting 5 consecutive AFC title games. But as we talked about yesterday, I don't think anyone's waiting for them to show up at their door either. Like if you're Buffalo and you win this weekend and you get past Miami and you've saved your season and you were on the brink of extinction, you beat the Chiefs, you kept winning, you found ways, then you beat Miami, you found your way in your 2 seed, you won't be happy that Kansas City's the door that you still have to open at the end of that. Not to mention you have to get past the 7 seed. And Buffalo's not playing good enough football that they can just make a bunch of mistakes and beat whoever's going to end up as the 7 seed in the AFC either. They're not a lockstep just to go past that little run either, which puts a whole nother thing into it. It was a good reminder for me of the difference between a regular season Chiefs team and a postseason Chiefs team. Because there have been other years when walking into the postseason, I'm like, I'm not sure that this team's as good as last year's, where they are. Even last year's team, they were the best team in the AFC, and we're like, okay, great. And they moved on. The year they won the Super Bowl, they were playing good football going into the postseason, but they had plenty of question marks. Everyone wasn't dead set that they were the best team in the AFC. No one was convinced of that. And in years in which they went to the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, you had questions about where the team, that year I thought they were the best team. Like, wow, look at them. They're an unstoppable juggernaut. They went to the Super Bowl and got their ass kicked because they'd lost their entire offensive line. Just a good reminder of this team plays different in the postseason. That's all it was. I went back and looked at the Tom Brady's worst years. And you can point to similarities where it's like 10 wins, 11 wins. But in the postseason, they play different. They play like a different level of team.
It was
That's
more
what it felt
like
against Cincy.
And it was more like
Jake Browning.
Talking to people that were at Arrowhead. I wasn't at the game. I don't think any of us were at the game. But
no.
Talking about it felt like a play. There was, maybe you call it, people were anxious too, but it was a little nervous. But it was a play. That's usually what happens sometimes at playoff atmospheres as well. It felt like a playoff atmosphere a little bit against Cincinnati. We'll get to the super fan video in just a second. But so much talk about looking ahead and what they need to do in the offseason with wide receiver and everything like that. So the NFL free agent list by CBS Sports, every year they put out what they view as their top 50 NFL free agents. Chris Jones listed as number 1.
That's not shocking.
L'Jarius Sneed, number 12. Whew. And we know the season he's having, even though he didn't get voted in at the Pro Bowl. And then you start looking at, those are the only 2 Chiefs on this, by the way. And then after that, I was like, all right, what about the wide receivers? And who could be available in free agency? Number 4 was T. Higgins. Number 12 was Pittman Jr. out of Indy.
What's funny is that they've got
Mike Evans, 13.
Pittman making way more money.
Hollywood Brown at 18 out of Arizona. And then Gabe Davis, 39th out of the top 50. Those are the only wide receivers in the top 50 available. It is not as great as of a free agent class as you would think. Now, I know everybody has their favorite that they would prefer. Obviously, I would love T. Higgins in Kansas City. You go through each one, though, and there's a very good chance Higgins and Pittman are just not available for different reasons, but just not available. All right, Mike Evans, I think, will be available, but there's some concern there. And I know everybody's desperate just to get a wide receiver because of the issues. I understand it. The draft still, to me, is going to be the key. Mike Evans, it truly depends on the deal because he'll be 31 in August. If he wants somehow a 3-year deal instead of a 2-year deal, then I'm getting a little concerned. I understand his performance is showing that he's just fine, but you also don't need to get in a cap situation in 2 years. Hollywood Brown, he claims just yesterday that he wants to stay in Arizona. We'll see, right? Money talks, and what do the Cardinals do in the draft? And then Gabe Davis, I have no interest in. Way too inconsistent. Boomer bust guy. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Here's the numbers, by the way, that CBS projects. Let's quickly, yes or no, on if you think that deal would be good for the Chiefs. T. Higgins, 4 years, $66.3 million, $16.5 million per year. Done, right?
Yeah, that
makes no sense. It's so low.
That seems low. I understand he's been hurt this year. Maybe there's injury concerns.
That sounds good. I like that one. Michael Pittman, 4 years, $90.8 million.
Yeah, I think the Colts.
$22.7 million per year. Again, that's below what a normal number 1 wide receiver costs.
I think the Colts, though, will do that. Remember, they have what will be a second-year quarterback, but still an evaluation year for Anthony Richardson,
who looked good before he got hurt.
You don't want to not sign what could be his best weapon in his offense if you got basically a rookie quarterback.
Here's where you start saying no just based on price tag. Their estimate for Mike Evans, 4 years, $96.3 million, $24 million a year for a 30-year-old, 31-year-old wide receiver.
I feel like he isn't going to make that money. I don't know where they're getting that projection from. I get that he's been good, but they're projecting the same money for Pittman as they are for Mike Evans. I don't think a team's paying him that amount of money, or at least time.
Hollywood Brown, 4 for $59.5, $14.8 million per year. I mean, based on production, that's actually not crazy. Calvin Ridley, 4 for 68.2, $17 million per year.
These are, by the way, the projections are coming from Spot Track, even though it's a CBS article, and usually Spot Track's pretty good on these.
So, I mean, if it's those numbers, I'm out on Evans, even though I like Evans as a player, and I think that he's got some juice left. If it's based on those numbers, then Calvin Ridley or T. Higgins are the best deals out of those, based on age, contract number, and the amount you're tied up into those. Those are the best deals.
Did I miss Calvin Ridley? I'm sorry. He was 20. Yeah, I guess I didn't mark
4
him
years.
down. Yeah.
4 years, $68.2 million, $17 million guaranteed.
He's been interesting in Jacksonville this year because he's had some big-time performances, and then he disappears. And I don't know if that's him or if that is just the offense and the system right now with
I think
Doug
some
Peterson.
of that you could
Trevor
argue with
Lawrence been
system.
hurt.
Yeah, both. Combination, right? He's been hurt and dinged up even in games in which he's playing.
If you told me they signed Calvin Ridley and they went out and drafted a wide receiver in the first or second round or a tight end in
good
the
unit.
combination, yeah, I can live with that.
Ridley, Rice, a wide receiver drafted early, first or second round, and Kelsey, I can definitely live with that unit. That's significantly better than
Big time
this year's.
upgrade. Big time.
That's still that's the thing that I really get hung up on with this offense that I can't wrap my brain around. Was for so many times we're just like, they just miss having that extra wide receiver. And I guess it's just like the drop off from MVS, but we're talking about 250 yards. How are they that much worse? Rasheed Rice is just as good as Juju Smith-Schuster was last year. And it's
But
just
think
like,
about
why?
those drops in the moments they occurred. You know what I mean? Like MVS, if he catches that, you probably win against the Eagles. If
there's like 3 or 4 more easy wins to find for the Chiefs if one thing was different.
So it's not even like Mahomes is still going to finish with over what's his number? Is his final number? I was going to say he's going to finish with over 4,200 yards, but I don't think he is. Right? Whatever the number is for Mahomes right now, passing is what it's going to be. 4,100. Yeah, almost 4,200, 4,183. That will be his final number in the regular season. So he's going to come short of the 4,500. I think his over-under was 44.5. The fact that he still ended up almost with 4,200 yards passing is actually amazing.
I already told you. Like Lamar Jackson's going to win MVP. He has more yardage, more touchdowns, and the same amount of turnovers. Like the 3 big stats for quarterbacks. Total yards, by the way. I'm giving Lamar all of his running stats, and I'm giving Pat all of his rushing stats, and it still ends up being a wash. It's just a weird, obviously, it's bad that the Chiefs have 2 of the top 12 free agents who could be leaving their team. But
I think Snead, though, is still the bigger priority. We talked about this yesterday. Sure. Like, that's the guy that I'm taking care of this offseason, just because I think Chris Jones's number still is going to be too far out for them.
His projected contract in this list is 4 years, $47.3 million, $11.8 per year.
For Snead?
Yes.
What was it for Cal? What do they list for Jones? I'm curious.
3 years, $84.5 million.
Pretty much the extension the Chiefs
28.1.
Almost exactly the number the Chiefs extension was, at least on that end. You want me to just give you somebody else just for fun? You want like Austin Eckler on the Chiefs next year, catching some passes? 3 years, $22.3 million.
Not for that dollar amount, I don't.
Yeah.
Not for that dollar amount. No way.
If you look at some of the other D tackles in free agency, Justin Matabuki from the Ravens, 4 years, $81. Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins, 4 years, $80. Leonard Williams, D tackle from Seattle, 3 years, $44.5. I mean, if you're the Chiefs, do you even think? I know you would probably draft a guy, but I mean, do you dare go after a wide receiver and try to split what you would pay Chris Jones into Leonard Williams and Hollywood Brown? I don't know.
I think Jared Snead is the answer.
Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, Snead to me is who you pay, and like they'll probably bring in. Like, I'm not saying they won't bring in any other veteran defensive lineman if they move on from Chris Jones, but I think they're going to go sign another huge, big priced defensive lineman. I don't believe they're going to do that this offseason. I can see them drafting another defensive player. I could see this is all off-season conversation. You can make an argument. I know people don't like it that they should draft a left tackle in the first round. Obviously, a wide receiver,
pass rusher.
I mean, they're
someone on the defensive line.
They're mocked to take offensive lineman or wide receiver in a majority of them.
There will be plenty of mocks that have the Chiefs taking a tackle in the first round.
Yep. To be clear, you can have defensive line as every team's need in the first round. Literally every team's need in the first round in perpetuity forever. That's it. It's everybody. It's on everyone's first round need list.
Yeah.
Like it just is. It's consistently an option in the first round if the better available player is there.
All right. So we know Chiefsaholic, who I think has a court case coming up, or hearing in his case coming up in a couple months. Bank robber, allegedly. X Factor.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty well documented, his history. Banned from Arrowhead. Not allowed. He put out a new video yesterday on Instagram. And the whole video is like 3 minutes. We're not going to play the whole 3-minute clip. We're going to play a lot of it, though. this first 90 seconds in particular. Just listen to X Factor.
Been doing a lot of work today. Got a couple new phones. Went 140 miles per hour on the highway, 100 on the shoulder to pass cars. Made from Garden City 35 miles in 17 minutes. All because X Factor's back. You haven't heard. Coming back, going to Arrowhead, dressing up as a different super fan.
So he's not back
for this game because I'm still banned from Arrowhead, but that's getting worked on. The ban should be released before the playoff game. I've got Dwayne Bowe, Derek Johnson, Priest Holmes, Jared Allen, Nick Lowry, everybody, Anthony Davis. A bunch of Chiefs players are going to call the Chiefs and get me back because I've heard that Arrowhead's missing X Factor after 343 straight games.
Arrowhead, he's heard, is missing X Factor, and he's having some Chiefs legends call up Clark Hunt to say we need X Factor back.
Okay, I just want to point out that Nick Lowry has actually already made a post saying, I didn't say any of that.
Oh, did he really?
Yes. So just
hey, spoiler, he doesn't. I wonder why he wouldn't want to be associated with this individual.
Can you imagine?
Priest Holmes. Why?
So he starts the thing by admitting to several crimes, like driving 100 miles an hour on the shoulder, 130 miles on the highway, then admits he's future going to trespass at Arrowhead dressed as a different super fan, and then claims that a bunch of former Chiefs are all going to call the Chiefs on his behalf.
That's right.
To let him back into the stadium. But he's back, dude.
There's more.
He's back.
There's more.
And who I made famous, Red Extreme, Tim Orman. So he knocked me out. He deboed me. 100 million hits on the internet. I was on TMZ. Pat McAfee, watched the Pat McAfee video.
Pat McAfee, by the way.
It's pretty good.
Pat McAfee.
It was on TMZ, NFL Network, ESPN with the video.
He's bragging about
Good
social
Morning
media.
America was on there. So anyways, I'm coming back loud and proud.
So,
and a little, how about them Chiefs? And a little, and the home of the Chiefs. And a little, let's get wild, let's get crazy. It's time for Chiefs football. Woo! Back loud and proud, baby. Got a lot of bottled up energy. God bless you. Jesus loves you. I love you. Let's go.
I'll say bottled up energy.
There's something in there. There's something bottled up. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
It's just so much to take in.
Oh goodness!
It's just it's a lot going on there. He's back, you know. I didn't know he was gone, but he's back.
Oh goodness!
Poster child for the Chiefs.
What
right
super
there.
fan is he dressing up as if it's not going to be X Factor next weekend?
I don't know. Also, I mean,
he's banned from Arrowhead.
Why warn the why warn the Chiefs that you're gonna beat
Cody,
them?
you're acting like sound decisions are being made. You're acting like that's happening here. Clearly, it's not.
Now I got people in the text line asking if we're not going to talk about the 8 to 10 foot creatures at the mall in Miami. I missed that story.
We'll get there later.
Is that a thing?
I don't know, man.
I'll do some research on it. We can ask about it during.
It was on TMZ. So, anyways, I'm coming back.
So the weird part about that is that he's bragging about being on TMZ for being knocked unconscious.
And Good Morning America. Oh, everything.
On the Pat McAfee show.
That's right.
Oh,
it all makes me so uncomfortable.
Drew, we're going to need some drops made from that entire clip. Just so you know.
We'll be done. Play some of it back for Aaron. Club 610.
Oh, it makes me so uncomfortable. Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
And
got a lot of bottled up energy.
anytime we reference Pat McAfee show, we have to pull the clip.
Oh, man. Okay. Pat McAfee show.
Properly credited.
Have you guys seen those Aaron Rodgers interviews on the Pat McAfee show? You guys seen those? They happen every Tuesday.
The one this week seems like it's caught a bit of controversy.
Oh, yes, it has. Something about a list.
Yeah.
Something about a list.
Aaron had a lot of bottled up energy too.
Yeah.
Evidently.
Yeah, I don't think we're talking ayahuasca here with our good friend X Factor. I think it's a little bit different than ayahuasca.
No.
Allegedly.
I'm glad I alerted you to this very
I'm
video.
very glad you did. I needed that today on a Friday. All right, coming up next, we'll get to what's trending. And is this the worst it's going to get in the regular season with Patrick Mahomes?
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
There's a brand new Other Place location in Mission, Kansas, and let me tell you, it is absolutely beautiful. It is the perfect place to stop by, grab a drink after work, catch a happy hour, catch a playoff game, or watch a little college basketball. If you're looking for a place to watch the game, you got to stop by the brand new Other Place in Mission.
When you want to feel your best, go where I go. Supplement Superstores, 8 locations around the Kansas City area. Supplement Superstores has the best selection of products and the most knowledgeable staff around. Plus, they have wholesale pricing every day. Supplement Superstores, when you're ready to feel your best.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Your favorite team is always trying to get the best lineup on the field, and now Sonic is giving your cheeseburger the most burgier lineup ever. Dana Hughes here, and get ready for Sonic's bold and tangy hickory barbecue and indulgent garlic butter bacon cheeseburgers, taking your game to a whole new level, starting at just $3.99. Whether at the tailgate or after a weekly practice, you'll love Sonic's hickory burger and garlic butter bacon cheeseburgers. But don't wait, the burger lineup is only available at Sonic for a limited time.
I lock up my Old Spice Fiji aluminum-free dry spray to keep that 24/7 lasting freshness safe for myself. Fresh coconuts, palm trees in the wind. It's like catching waves in Fiji. Actually, I just talked myself into a refreshing spritz of Fiji. My Old Spice is missing! No!
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get the home field advantage every time with Fairfield by Marriott, official hotel partner of the NCAA. Whether you're a student athlete working toward your championship dreams or your team's biggest fan, Fairfield by Marriott has everything you need to get ready for game day. From comfortable guest rooms to complimentary hot breakfast. Fairfield is part of the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio of hotels and official hotel partner of the NCAA. Visit fairfield.marriott.com to book your next game day stay.
Start the new year off with a bang of big savings during the Omaha Steaks end-of-season event. You can stock up on all your favorites and get 50% off site-wide. That's 50% off perfectly aged tender steaks, juicy burgers, decadent desserts, and even classic comfort meals. Go to omahasteaks.com, and when you use code SIZZLE at checkout, you'll get an extra $30 off your order. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code SIZZLE at checkout for an extra $30 off your order. Minimum purchase may apply.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Hey Chiefs fans, it's Patrick Mahomes. Catch me every Monday with CDOT during the season on your official broadcast partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending news out at Arrowhead, Pete Sweeney checking in on practice. Did not see during the media portion Rashee Rice, Donovan Smith, L'Jarius Sneed, or Kadarius Toney. Chris Jones, though, was back at practice. Remember, it was a groin spasm earlier in the week for Chris Jones, but he's back at practice. And again, I think they are going to let him play a little bit, try to help him out on the incentive.
I think so, too, which is funny. They could just help him on the incentive by just giving him it. Just giving him $1.25 million. But that's a heavy incentive to just pay out for the 10 sack thing. So that'll be interesting. Chris Jones, like someone pointed out on the text line, he's like, man, sat out week 1. He's still going to have to play in a meaningless week 17 game to make sure that he at least gets part of the money he lost by sitting out. This is the thing. It wasn't a success story. Chris Jones did it. He did it for the reasons he thought were right. So I imagine if you asked him, he said he wouldn't regret it. But he did not get the money back. He lost more money in this exchange than he would have if that was not the case. Next up on What's Trending, Will Howard officially heading to Ohio State University to be their next starting quarterback. Obviously, they moved on from Kyle McCord and were looking to upgrade the quarterback position. Will Howard did some good things at K-State, no doubt, but they were ready to move to Avery Johnson. He'll get a shot for Ohio State. He's got the 7th best, I think we looked up, Heisman Trophy odds right now. Imagine, what would he have been before the season at K-State? Maybe... not on the board or lower.
Yeah,
it's a lot of where it is. And this is like we said before, this is kind of what I like about the transfer portal. Really great for Will Howard. I think K-State fans should be rooting for him to succeed at Ohio State. And he'll have a chance to play in the college football playoff because of the expansion next year.
Great opportunity for Will Howard. to change everything about like how, college football, at K-State and here locally, everybody knew how good of a player he ended up being. But on a national landscape, if he has success at Ohio State, it'll just change everything for him. Next up on What's Trending, local college basketball this weekend. It's conference tournament or conference regular season already, believe it or not, which is meaning all three are in action all at home, I believe. Missouri against Georgia at noon, KU TCU 1 o'clock, K-State against UCF at 5 o'clock. It is already conference basketball time.
God, I can't. You know what? That's when you actually get like a decent idea. Like right now, K-State hasn't looked all that good. I'll be at least interested to see what they look like in conference play. Kansas obviously has been off to a good start. If you already looked at like Lenardi's bubble list, they've already beaten 4 of the top 7 teams in the country.
Crazy schedule.
They've had a nutty schedule, of which they've won quite a bit of. Kansas is going to be one of the favorites to win the national title again. They're going to be a 1 seed again. They're going to win the Big 12 again. It's all the same stuff for Kansas. Missouri's still trying to find its footing here early as well. Next up on What's Trending, Trevor Lawrence officially a game-time decision. That according to head coach Doug Peterson for the Jags. Remember, the Jags are in a situation where if they can win this weekend against Tennessee, they win the division and they're in. They're the 4 seed. They'll take on the Cleveland Browns as the 5 seed, and they'll know their opponent. But they could lose and still cough up this whole thing. This Trevor Lawrence injury stuff has really dragged on this year. He's been unable to stay on the field for a large majority of it. And being a game-time decision is kind of the difference between me deciding if I think they're going to win or lose.
Next on What's Trending, huge news out of New York with my favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, voted by his teammates as the most inspirational player for the 2023 season by his teammates. Their linebacker, Quincy Williams, named team MVP. Look, if you're watching Zach Wilson every week, I'm sure there's a lot of inspiration from the guy that's played 4 snaps this season. It's the only hope you have going forward.
Well, they didn't have a lot.
It's the only hope you have.
In fairness, they didn't have a lot to inspire them.
Aaron Rodgers will probably be the favorite for comeback player of the year next year.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins will be up there.
You have to either suck or be hurt.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins will be up there. So will Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, some of the other quarterbacks that got hurt this year. But Aaron Rodgers might have the best odds to be comeback player of the year in 2024.
Lastly, on What's Trending, don't forget, next Friday, 1 week from today, we're all going to be out at Cinderblock Brewery for the Playoff Pilsner, the third annual Playoff Pilsner beer release party. Entire 610 crew will be there. Dusty will be there for after hours, starting at 6 o'clock. We'll be popping on. Everybody will chat. Someone's like, hey, can I just talk to your show and not the others? I don't care who you talk to. You can talk to whoever you want.
Yeah.
You want to just show up to talk to Bob and Josh? Fine. You want to just show up to talk to me and Gold? You want to talk to everybody?
Just talk to Drew.
Whole crew will be there. Just Drew. Remember when that one was for a while?
Just Drew.
Was that your handle was for a bit? I don't remember.
Oh, he's not in here. Oh, yeah, he
Dear
is.
B. Nix.
Well, it's
Oh,
now
maybe that was
Drew.
in his
Now it's
handle.
Drew B. Nix.
Okay, so the handle was Drew Nix. Now it's Drew B. Nix, but the name
It looked
was
like Deer.
just Drew.
But it looked like
Now
Deer.
it's Drew
It
Nix.
looked like Deer's W. Nix or
It's a little bit
something.
easier
It was-
for you now than it was
Got it.
before.
We'll all be out there. It's a great time at Cinderblock Brewery. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Starts at 6. I might even be there. I'll probably be there right in the early end. Sometimes I think you show up a little later. I think I'll be there in the. I think I'll be in the early end of that.
Well, I think, yeah, it depends. Because you leave earlier. You got kids.
Yeah.
Usually what happens. I end up usually staying a little later. Last year, people were taking photos of me having a certain conversation.
Well, you were.
I appreciate that, Cody.
Did
Is
I
that
take
you?
the photo?
No, I think it's our boss.
No, I don't think it was.
I think
me.
it was our boss.
I think I had left by the time that you were having pictures taken of you trying to pick up somebody. Successfully, I might add.
We were just having a conversation, you know?
It led to a couple of dates. How many dates? How many dates specifically?
4?
Ooh.
3, 4?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you go. That was over a year ago. My goodness. Time flies.
Got another shot on Friday. Next Friday.
There you go. That's what's trending. What is this thing about this mall creature? I just Googled it. So I know I saw a couple days ago, or whatever, maybe it was yesterday, that there was a huge police response at like some mall in Miami, and they said it was teenagers fighting. But there were 60 different law enforcement individuals that showed up. And the text line says that there's a conspiracy around this. Of course there is, by the way. And I just Googled, and it says Miami mall, quote, creature video goes viral. And there's a video, and you can see the police response.
Crazy
and people
police response,
claim that
60
there's
cop cars.
in the video, of course, it's blurry. Because what I've always said, it's amazing. Whenever it comes to creatures or anything, it just so happens suddenly our amazing technology and our cameras just go to you-know-what. Whenever it involves Bigfoot or anything, it's weird. Everything's crystal clear for anything else. But the moment there might be a conspiracy, magically the video sucks. I don't know why that is, Cody. But there's a creature.
It's something that emanates off of them, probably.
Is that right? They're the ones that are making the cameras bad. Okay.
Uh-huh. So that's all it is.
But
it
do you
looked
think
like
it's weird that they
4
said
teenagers were arrested, and then people are claiming that
60 police cars were necessary for 4 teenagers fighting?
I will say that does seem kind of like an over response. So maybe there's something to this, you know?
Huh. Okay.
It is, I'll say this. I watched the video a couple of times. It is, if you're making out anything there. I mean, I'm looking at the video. It's tough. It's like a monster movie, but when it's really filmed out, like at the beginning of the monster movie, when nobody actually believes there's like Godzilla running through town. Like, what's that kind of blurry thing in the distance? I don't know. Just ignore it, babe. It's fine. Nothing. And then like later you get the zoomed in shot.
Again, the official
Whatever
report,
it is, it does look taller than a building, right? So I get the idea that it looks taller than a building.
It says
know.
4 teenagers were arrested in connection to the incident. According to the suspect's arrest report mentioned by WPLG, a TV affiliate down there, the juveniles were causing a riot inside the mall and causing panic. That's the official report. But then outside, there was this image that people are like, what is this figure? And
I will
people
say
are
60
calling it
police cars seems like a bit of
Now, if
bit of overkill.
if there's a riot going, I have no idea. But if there was a riot going on, that would be why there was a huge response. If it's just 4 teenagers fighting, no. But if they were causing a riot and all of a sudden you actually had way more people involved.
Like
I don't
now
know,
I'm
man.
looking at a second video of the. I mean,
someone else brought up a good point. Of course, there just happens to be no crystal clear video footage from the mall itself. Exactly. This is why I always
Do
have
malls
an
have
issue.
security?
This is why I always have a problem with anytime the Bigfoot stuff happens. Again, it's like magically our cameras suck when it comes to these creatures that are supposedly there.
It's just the Matrix, man. Maybe
but when someone robs a bank, we have a crystal clear image of that individual.
I don't know if it's always crystal clear. Like Chiefsaholic.
It's a pretty good image. He's in a mask, but it's a pretty clear image. What was the guy like a year ago? There was a bank, unfortunately, on State Line, which really narrows it down for everybody.
72 banks.
And the image was this guy. He didn't wear a mask or anything. I mean, just clear as day. I mean, crisp video.
Yeah, he was done for.
And I have no idea if they got the guy, but I mean, if you knew that dude, he was.
You could have made out a freckle on that guy's cheek.
I mean, it was crystal clear. Anyway. No, just wondering. Reminder coming up, 1 o'clock, we've got a Club 610 champagne, I'm told.
Well, so, we're
what
going to
we'll
hit for
be
New Year's
drinking.
Eve. It's a champagne cocktail. It's called a French 75. Just felt right for New Year's time, that's all. We hadn't had it felt like we'd been like whiskey heavy a few times in a row, so I went with a French 75 from J. Rieger instead.
Okay.
I made you simple
I've had a
syrup
French
last
75
night?
before.
When?
I used to have, they've gone out of business, but I used to have what was the brand name? It was made by Keurig, but it was like an at-home cocktail, not Bartesian. Bartesian still exists.
The little drink maker.
Drinkworks. There you go. Drinkworks. Okay. They've since gone out of business, unfortunately. You buy these pods and cocktails. Anyway, one of them was a French 75. So
did you like it at the time?
It was okay.
Oh,
it was all right.
Well, we'll see if it hits better today. And obviously they can be gin, they can be vodka, they can be a lot of different types, but.
And this is going to be champagne based.
This will be there'll be champagne, but there'll also be gin.
Gin is based.
The base
from Jay Rieger. Yep. Aaron Ladd from KSHB 41.
Last time he came in, he might have drank
studio.
Dom champagne.
We haven't had Aaron in studio in a while on this show. Used to be
I'm a little worried. The last time I served it to him, I bought like a $9 bottle or $10 bottle of champagne for this cocktail, and he probably I think Dom's the last champagne he had in this studio.
You think Aaron's expecting the best? I'll text him anyway to make sure he's.
Should we play this when he comes in?
Woo! Back loud and proud, baby.
That's right.
Oh, is that how we're going to end the show?
Text Aaron. Only the finest champagne for you today.
I don't remember what kind it is. It's a Brut. I almost, it was on sale, but it was still a few bucks more than I wanted to spend on the champagne. Snoop Dogg has a sparkling.
I'm not surprised. You see he's going to be part of the Olympic coverage because the ratings for the Olympics have gone downhill.
So they're going to
have Snoop Dogg, part of NBC's, thinking of 41, NBC's coverage. Aaron's going to be on late on TV for sports all summer long. Olympics in the summertime on NBC in Paris, and Snoop's going to do coverage for them.
I think him and Kevin Hart did something at the last Olympics. Where
they did something on a separate channel.
Yeah.
It was on, maybe it was on Peacock. I
think
it
might have been on Peacock where they were.
Yeah. And it was funny. Some of the clips were actually really funny. We'll see how that goes.
I'll watch it. More likely to watch it if Snoop Dogg's saying
Aaron says
stuff.
hopefully bottle girls this time as well. Nope.
Sorry. You know what? There's a lot of different types of Club 610s.
Today is not going to be that.
This is a lighter one. Not bottle girls and Dom.
So that's coming up at 1 o'clock. I was thinking more, though, about this season as a whole for the Chiefs and frustration all the way around. And yet you step back and you realize they're going to be at least a 10-win team, if not an 11-win team if they beat the Chargers. They're locked in as a 3. They just won their 8th straight AFC West title. Patrick Mahomes was healthy all year, but you dealt with drops. You dealt with all the frustration and impacted his performance as well. Is this the worst regular season that the Chiefs are going to have with Patrick Mahomes? Assuming a year in which Mahomes is healthy, not a year where he misses time. And if the answer is yes, think about that.
The fact that I even have to think about it means the answer is at least probably, right? I mean, I can't rule it out because tell me a time in which they will have worse weapons than they have now. Their second wide receiver on this team after the rookie who they took in the second round has 350 yards. What's Justin Watson got? He's probably 2 on this team, right?
Yeah, Watson's probably above 500 or 600, isn't he?
Dude, come on. Let's just play out the next 10 years of Patrick Mahomes. And you tell me a season in which Justin Watson is their number 2 wide receiver. I understand that at least part of this could be they do still have 2 1,000-yard wide receivers, essentially, because Kelsey's 16 yards away.
Watson still only had 460.
I told you, 400. And he's second on this team because MVS is.
Remember the bet we made earlier in the season or mid-season?
Yeah.
After week 2,
you said you'd buy Don if Justin Watson led this team.
If he led the team in receiving, thank you, Rasheed Rice. Thank you.
He's the only one who saved you out of that.
Thank you,
thing.
Rasheed Rice.
Because if Rasheed Rice hadn't emerged this year, you're probably screwed.
Although somebody would, there's no way the leading receiver would have only had 460 yards.
No, but Watson would just have like 650
maybe.
if Rashee Rice had never developed.
I don't know what they would have done if it wasn't for Rashee Rice.
I don't think that this is the least talented team in NFL history. I think there's teams with less offensive talent than the Chiefs right now. I just think that based on anything we know about Brett Veach and the fact that he's going to be the general manager of this team for a decade or more, right? At least a decade or more. You've got to assume that he is never going to let the receiving unit for Patrick Mahomes look like this ever again. So my guess is, yeah, they might as a team have a worse year if they get down into a bad year with a below average, like let's say a Philadelphia defense. But even if they have Philadelphia's defense, they're still going to be in the postseason. They still have a chance to win their division. They could have won their division if they just beaten the stupid Cardinals last week. I think the bare bones, maybe Mahomes gets in a wild card game one year. But
he technically is going to be in a wild card game.
No, but as in not a division winner.
Gotcha.
Maybe a wild card team.
Yeah.
But do you see that? Guys won the division 8 years in a row, and no other team in the division right now is close. They're not close. They got years to fix this problem. So, no is my yes is my answer. This is probably the worst year we'll see out of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, again, we're talking about a year in which Mahomes is healthy. Obviously, there's a chance, you never know down the road. Does he miss 6 games or something? Well, that's different. I'm talking about a year in which, no, he's healthy. Are they going to finish with less than 10 wins? And they were very close to doing that, the way things were trending for a little while this season. But I know right now it's easy to say, it can't get any worse than this. And I tend to agree. I think it's long, the big outlier, the big question, I guess, will be post Andy Reid, right? Whether it's 5 years from now, 3 years from now, or 8 years from now, I don't know. And what does that look? What's that head coach? Do they have a terrible head coach hire that just stinks? And does that drag everything down? That's stuff we don't know yet. You're trying to predict the future. Yeah. But from just looking at Patrick Mahomes, it's hard to imagine him being part of, if he's healthy, any team that wins fewer than what they're doing now, which is 10.
10 wins and a division title.
And a year, in an era of football also, where now, playoffs have expanded, but also the schedule has expanded. You're playing an extra game versus guys 10 years ago.
This is not a small sample size. We have 6 years of Patrick Mahomes being a starter. Okay, he's won the division all 6 of those years. We know that he's been in the AFC title game at least 5 of those 6 years. He's still got, and by the 6 years not dead, obviously. So at least 5 out of those 6 years. He's won at least now 10 games in all 6 of those years. And by the way, he's won at least 12 in 5 of those 6 years. We know this is the basement. He's too good. Him and Andy Reid are too good. And I get it. Maybe the post-Andy Reid year, we're having a different conversation. But by then, Patrick Mahomes will be so established. I can't imagine any coach could come in and screw this up to make him a 7, 8, 9-win team. Just as long as you're allowing me to eliminate the injury part of this.
Sure.
Because I can't predict that. That's impossible. I don't know which way that's going to go. But how? He has no wide receivers to throw to. He has mediocre tackles. They're still going to win 10 games. Now, they got a great defense. Maybe he could have a bad offense like this and a bad defense, and still I think they'd get to 10. They'd just scratch out 10. They'd win different games. It's just hard to imagine a season that's worse than this for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting thing to think about it. We can even do it after the season's over with the result of including the postseason and see where people are at. You guys remember, too, I think at the end of last season, there was a survey that got put out by the NFL Players Association about, team facilities. And the Chiefs, remember, they didn't grade out great with the locker room. And
real poor.
Right, there was even,
Really, training staff.
Picky details, like the chairs in the locker room weren't comfortable. Whatever. Okay, that kind of stuff came out. Well, there's a new survey that came out around coordinators. Basically, what coordinators do the players like the most around the league, according to the NFLPA survey, which comes from players.
Again, not a small sample size either. 700-800 players. That's what we're talking about here, is what they interviewed to get team report cards this previous spring. So this is before the season started. And this is on defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, and special teams players. Special teams coordinators. I'll just let you know right now, no Chiefs have made the list. Spags didn't make the list. No Eric Bieniemy, the previous. No Matt Nagy, the current. None of it. No Dave Tobe. Not a single guy made the list. So I was trying to figure out, when I looked at him, okay, should I be concerned by that?
So
that players don't want to play for these guys? Because Spags, his guys seem like they want to play for him every single second of every day. Of all the guys, I'm surprised, did not make this list at Spags.
Yeah, I was reading the details on this, and tell me if I'm reading this wrong. This sounds like it was still conducted like it was an older survey. So it says NFL players were asked to rate their offensive defensive and special teams coordinators in conjunction with the report card project conducted among each team during visits last fall. So are these still based off of last year or this year?
So they did it. It's a little of both.
Right?
They took the report cards last fall, and then they asked them based on those report cards this spring. So this, I guess not this calendar year, but in early 2023, and I read about this last night, early 2023, they asked them again, all right, you did the report cards, let's talk about coordinators.
So put that in perspective, though. Like, this was before this year started.
Yes.
This football season started.
Correct.
So top defensive coordinators, Aaron Glenn with Detroit, Steve Wilkes with the 49ers, Dan Quinn with the Cowboys, Brian Flores with the Vikings, and Raheem Morris with the Rams. Well, Dan Quinn, Brian Flores, Raheem Morris, Steve Wilkes, all have been head coaches before in this league. Some might get another opportunity. Dan Quinn's probably going to be a head coach next year again. Top 5 offensive coordinators, Frank Smith with the Dolphins. A lot of people believe he's going to become a head coach.
Yeah, that coaching staff is just incredible.
Thomas Brown for the Panthers. It's kind of interesting. Remember, they hired Frank Wright, but this was before the season started, and maybe there was already a sign. Brian Schottenheimer with the Cowboys, Brian Callahan with Cincinnati, and then Kellen Moore with the Chargers, again, before the season fell apart on them. So that's why I'm a little, it's interesting, no doubt. I just, a lot of these guys had head coaching experience, and how much are the situations of, like, they just didn't like the head coach, and this guy was someone that they were able to relate to more.
The head coach thing is kind of what speaks to why Spags works so well, especially with Andy.
Because he's a former head coach.
I think the further and further we get into this NFL thing, the mistake that like guys like Bill Belichick have made and Andy have made in the past is you should be even less hands-on every single part of your job. Like, I used to be kind of critical where I'd be like, Andy doesn't even care about the defense. Like, could Andy even tell you what the defense is going to do this week? Like, I used to think, like, God, he just lets Bob Sutton do it, or he just lets Spags do it. But now, as NFL has gotten more and more complicated, the former head coach thing, and the reason why I think there's so many on all these lists, is for that reason. You need an individualized coach per unit. And that the head coach has just got to be the person who's like the overseer, making sure everybody is involved and we can see everybody.
Well, that's why a lot of coaching hires fail, right? Where it's you hire the guy that's a great mind in terms of play designer, but can he lead? Can he manage, the roster? Can he manage the ins and outs? Heck, deal with the media, all that, right? There's there's guys that are great coaches, like in terms of scheme and all that, but maybe not great leaders in dealing with what comes with being a head coach. I mean, there's so many examples of that. Guys that great coordinators in this league, just not good head coaches. Plenty of examples.
Spags did not have a great head coaching tenure, right? I mean, he didn't have a great head coaching tenure. Wade Phillips is always like the example you give. Yeah. It's like he's had tons of success doing that.
Heck, but Vic Fangio, right? Great coordinator. Great coordinator. Was a terrible head coach.
I feel like that's like Mike Tomlin is the poster child for that description, where he is the guy, but he lets the coaches do their thing.
Oh, we know he can manage a locker room.
Yes.
My goodness,
Yeah.
look at the guys he's had come
every
through there.
year. He's had to do it.
It isn't so. At the bottom
Still
of that thing, I don't know if you guys said this or not, but at the bottom it says the survey was administered during the NFLPA visits between August 28th and November 16th. So the latest or the most recent, it was November 16th was when they made the visit.
It's fascinating because I'm always curious about what other teams must think about, because everyone knows, like, if you just like polled every player in the league, like who are the coaches you like playing for, Andy Reid's got to be at the top. So it's weird. Andy is at the top of the list because he will take every bullet for you. Yeah. He is a player's coach, but he runs some of the toughest practice and training camp that anyone in the league. Some guys don't like that. Some veteran guys are like, man, Andy, chill, man. I'm tired. There's a lot of work. But the difference is, like we talked about this when like people leave Bill Belichick. It's the same thing. You can do that if you're winning. You can be the hard ass if you're winning. That's the other part about this. These guys who are on the bad teams, I assume they're the real softies. They're, what a player's guy. Oh, what a sweetheart, right? For the teams that aren't playing well. But the head coaching thing is the thing that stands out the most. It is a lot of former head coaches, especially on the defensive end or future head coaches. There's just got to be a certain leadership quality that comes with that. And I guess I'm a little, like, this is a year ago, so I guess we don't have to worry about Nagy yet because he wouldn't have been the answer to that. He was still a head coach. But can he get on this list? Can people playing with him?
I don't know if it really matters, though.
Oh, I know. But I do think there's a point where, like, between this and between that player survey about, like, people, like, you want people to desire coming here for more than just, hey, Mahomes plays here. You want other reasons to motivate players to be here.
But when Andy's your offensive play caller, I'm not surprised the offensive coordinator is not on the top 5 most liked offensive coordinator in football.
That's the same thing
from
we've talked about all the time,
players.
like when getting a head coaching job. It's difficult because Andy does the job the most.
Those surveys. We'll see what I will be fascinated with when the facility one comes out again.
Yeah,
because we know that the limitations that era. This goes back to the whole financing the stadium element and building a new stadium or renovating, because there was limitation. Like the Chiefs facility wise are nowhere near the best in the NFL at all. At all. And they finally obviously have upgraded the locker room over the last couple of years.
They still got space issues.
And so there's just some limitations you have with the current facility.
According to this thing, it looks like, so it says that we still plan on releasing our full player team report cards in the spring. Does that mean they're going to release all 32 of each of them? I mean, that...
Yeah, we'll find out who's like last.
And the Chiefs got like a C- or whatever.
No, he's talking about like will we see like the least liked offensive coordinator?
Right. Can you imagine that?
That would be interesting to see.
It would be.
That would be really
Will it
interesting.
be interesting if all of a sudden EB's 28?
It would be interesting. Well,
It's coming out in the spring.
Based off of the leaks out of DC, we don't need to go down like fully the road about EB, but like there were multiple reports out of DC that players thought they went to their head coach and complained. Now, we've gone through this already about, hey, it's a different day and age, and players have to be treated differently now than they were in 1995. And does that work now? Does it work in a losing culture versus a winning culture? And can you be the hard ass now? Do you have to, for lack of a better, coddle players more now?
We just talked about this.
All of that.
It was a whole nother thing. It's like the old school mentality. That's why, again, like looking back at it, EB would have made a really good college coach probably, where you can have that mentality every 3 years and guys just go. They go, and now even less. It's not even 4 years. Sometimes those guys are there for 18 months, 2 years, and then you're just moving on.
All right, coming up next, not only will we get to the random question of the day on the show, but we'll also talk a little bit about the impact Matt Nagy has had, in particularly the focus in on the red zone. That's next here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
Choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Paid for simulated client portrayal.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. No matter how you've been injured, my law firm is here to help.
Mike and his team handle all kinds of cases.
Big truck accidents and wrongful death cases.
Even defective product cases. Any kind of case, Mike's got this.
No matter what kind of injury case you have, I promise we can help. Call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know. 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're going to make a resolution to improve your health. But if you're feeling sluggish and low energy, if your sleep patterns are off, if you've been working out and aren't seeing the gains you used to see, making that resolution may not be so easy. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're feeling the way I just described, we can likely help you with that resolution, because those symptoms probably mean you're suffering with low testosterone. And at Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating this condition. With our low T protocols, if you're like most men, the change will astound you. You'll feel more energy and better mental clarity, your sleep will improve, your workouts will be better, and you'll likely find your sex drive goes up as well. So call us today and get treated for your low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Don't miss out on limited-time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, well, use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
With a smile at Andy's, top your day. With a smile at Andy's, top your day.
I love s'mores, so I made our new Andy's Frozen Custard S'mores Jackhammer just for fall.
I was laughing during the break. Ritz crackers, right? They put out a photo of a cracker, and they said it makes me want to say Duval, and this cracker looks like Trevor Lawrence. This Ritz cracker looks just like Trevor Lawrence, who may not play, by the way, for the Jags on Sunday against Tennessee in a game where if the Jags win, they win the NFC or the AFC South.
They can still make the postseason, but it's a lot of other weirder things. You know, this team loses or ties, whatever. The 1,000 of bizarre playoff
You eat
appearances.
Ritz cracker? You like Ritz crackers?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Who doesn't like it? I prefer club cracker. If you're giving me a butter cracker choice, I would prefer a club cracker. But I'm not against a Ritz cracker.
Yeah.
Triscuits are garbage. Get those.
Yeah, I don't like Triscuits.
I don't like
wheat thins. And I don't like wheat thins.
Sometimes.
Oh.
Sometimes.
They have multiple flavors of those,
I like
too.
Wheat
Of the wheat thins or the...
Wheat thins are a very good cracker with like a cheese ball situation or like something that's like, it's bringing like, it's got a nice size and crunch factor, but I think something else has got to bring like the flavor.
Like the crackers, like if you're having
this is an honest opinion I'm giving you.
Yeah, like if you're having people over before like dinner or whatever, like to watch a game, you know, if you're watching a game like you get the crackers with the pepperoni and salami or whatever.
Sure.
Those type of crackers are perfect for that.
Yeah.
But not wheat thins. Not wheat thins.
Do you think that the people who sell those like pre-made like those things, like the cracker, you think it's the same company who does Lunchables and they're just like pre-programming
Well, a lot of
to
them
essentially have
maybe
adult
well,
Lunchable?
yeah, if you look the pepperoni and salami, a lot of it is like Hormel.
Yeah,
a lot of it's from Hormel, which makes
everything's
some
run
of
by
those.
like 5 companies
But
anyway. They're all owned by like Mars or whatever.
Isn't Lunchables like Oscar Mayer though? Who does the Lunchables?
I don't want to say for sure. My kids get those.
They might have a version of
very,
them. I don't know if they're
very occasionally. It's usually if we're gonna like be on the lake all day. Those are easy to like throw in a cooler. That's about the.
Kraft Heinz, of course, marketed under the Oscar Mayer brand.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. Okay.
Got it.
Very important stuff.
We covered it. We figured
Random
it
question today coming up in 10 minutes. It is a Red Friday brought to you by ComCare. Call or text 988 for 24/7 mental health support. We were talking about coordinators in the prior segment and the rankings that came out for the top 5 at least, and wondering, like, hey, it doesn't matter if you're not in the top 5, and maybe what goes into that. Thinking of coordinators, Matt Nagy, who's been discussed plenty this football season, you thought a comment he made yesterday when the coordinators were talking was kind of interesting in terms of maybe the mindset right now.
Yeah, so he talked a lot yesterday, and there was a couple of things that stood out. One was something I had mentioned to Pete Sweeney when we had him on earlier, which was I feel like they're kind of openly admitting that they're playing a more conservative brand of offense due to the fact that they're playing what they're complementary football. To me, that's cowardly football sometimes, and I want you to go for the points. But I understand because they're looking for the ways to get the win. The other thing he really hammered on was red zone scoring. Like, more than the turnovers, seemingly, and all those problems that have been there, this team for 2 consecutive years has been hyper-focused on red zone scoring and seemingly can't find the solution. And I was trying to decide if that's the thing they should be focused on versus turnovers, because one seems more curable. And that's turnovers, honestly. Stop giving the damn ball away. Hold on to it. Like Pete said, you train your entire life to take care of the football. And I get a little bit worried about teams who settle into the complementary football end of it when you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes, because you don't want to lose that aggressiveness.
I'll say this, though. I actually think this is a good development. Here's why. Because for much of this season, and we did this too from the outside, we're like, hey, eventually maybe they fix it. That was like in September and October and lesser extent in November and obviously December. But whether it's ego or just basing it off of prior experience, they were still trying to be an offense that could be explosive, an offense that we all were used to. Top 5, one of the best in football.
Sure.
And I think maybe it was last week when we all saw the reports like, hey, we're simplifying things. They finally realized, okay,
we can't do what we were hoping we could do by the time the season started. What took so long?
What we have been in the past and we've strived for this year offensively, it's just not happening. We all were like saying that in week 10, but they finally, I think, realized that. And so I have no problem with them complimentary football. I think that's what they have to do, Cody. They're finally maybe acting in terms of their scheme and play like the team that they actually have, not the team they wanted to be.
It is always kind of wild, though, to be finally admitting that in week 17. Like, I mean, better late than never. I mean, I'll agree with that notion, which is, hey, I'm glad you're realizing who you are before, because then maybe that means what we were talking about before. Complimentary football, you know what that means? Running the football, giving it to Isaiah Pacheco, not leading postseason teams in pass attempts. Patrick Mahomes right now leads the NFL in pass attempts. Mahomes. They're not a functional passing offense. They're not a good one. They got no wide receivers. Well, they got one, Rashee Rice. So why the hell have you been leading the NFL in pass attempts? You're not down all the time. Your defense is too good for that. Explain it. And it seemed like they were trying to, that like old adage of like, play yourself out of a paper bag. You're like, I'm just going to play myself out of it. I'm going to throw my problems away. You're like, it's gambler's mentality. It's you and I sitting
chasing.
at the...
You don't want to chase.
Yeah, dude, it's us down $300 at the roulette table, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to put $300 on black. I'm going to get this bad boy.
Black 17.
I'm getting this all the way back. It's a terrible... Like, I prefer that they're not operating that way, but it seemed like they operated that way for a huge portion of the season. So is it too late to go to the complimentary football?
No, I think they just showed it's not too late.
Because again, Cincinnati's one of the better games they've played.
And look, we all know Cincinnati's defense isn't great either, so let's keep that in mind in the back. When we're talking about this. But I do think maybe there was finally heading into last week's game a realization like, hey, we all wanted to be this team offensively because that's fun and that's what we are in the past. But, all right, we're going to have to do it differently. And I wish they would have figured that out earlier, but I do believe they figured that out. And that's why I actually do have a little bit of faith in the postseason with them. Not only because the defense is great, but, like, if the coaching staff and their scheme, they finally realize, okay.
This is who we are.
We are the 10th best offense this year, not the first. and let's act like it and play
All
that.
those field goals in that last game stunk of that. Just
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I'm not saying
just...
they need to be kicking 5 field goals a game, but the point is, if your defense is going to play at the level it has all year, can your offense use the clock a little bit? Can you be smarter in how you go? You're not trying to be the offense. You're just not.
I thought in the game against Cincinnati in particular, anyone else think Mahomes was surprisingly conservative down there? Like, in rewatching some of the red zone appearances, there are some tight window throws he could try to get a touchdown. Instead, he just throws the ball short, throws it away, took his field goal, moved on with his life.
I'm fine with him throwing the ball away in some of those spots.
Sometimes I think sometimes that's required. There's no doubt. But I felt like once they started like getting control of the game, and it seemed like just adding one field goal after another was going to be enough to get it done. He dialed so the fear is always like, yeah, good, right? Don't turn the ball over, especially in the red zone. Take your points, get your win. But then the fear is always like he's being conservative about throwing the football because he can't trust anyone who's in the red zone to actually make the play he's asking them to make. And that's what scares me, is that in the game in which he has to throw the ball into the end zone, he's still going to show a little bit of that hesitation. And I don't know if it was hesitation in the red zone. I just thought it was conservative play. I thought the Chiefs were very conservative in the red zone against Cincinnati, and we're fine to just grind this thing out. But I don't think you can beat Miami or Buffalo with 6 field goals. I don't think you can beat the Ravens with 6 field goals. You will have to be a better red zone team, which Matt Nagy pretty much admitted yesterday. But that requires a certain level of aggression, whether you're the 10th best offense or the first.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, at the end of this segment, we'll give you a chance to win a large specialty pizza from our friends over at The Other Place. So if you want to do that, you just got to call in at 913-586-7610. When we tell you to at the end of the segment, the lines are going to be blocked out. So you call in now. It's not going to do you any good.
Unless you just want to chat with Drew.
Yeah, talk about how great Cincinnati is.
I told him earlier that the Bengals should trade Jamar Chase, and he didn't say – I didn't hear him say they shouldn't. He just said, wait, is that what you're saying? So you're saying you would like them to trade Jamar Chase or no?
No, I know. You want them to trade Jamar Chase.
That's accurate.
Yeah,
get out.
Because you want.
Listen to the way he's talking, dude. Get out.
No, the reason why you want them to is because you can say, hey, Brett, come on now.
We're tight. I call him Brett. Hey, Brett. I don't even think I called him Brett when I used to cover the team. And
you
see
can
him
get Priest Holmes to call on your behalf and say, hey, you know what? The Chiefs should try and get
Mr. Veach. What did I call him?
If X Factor can get all these Chiefs legends to remove his band, then anything's possible.
You can get Jamar Chase to the Bengals.
We'll play that again in the 1 o'clock hour today. Don't you worry. All right, let's get to it. The random question of the day.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew. Over in the text line, 913-586-7610. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all the video streams as well if you'd like to interact. Mentioned multiple times, Pete Sweeney's bailing on us with his mountain of cash and heading off to Capitol Grill with his girlfriend, which we understand. That's fine. He'll be there tonight. He said you can come by and say hi, talk cheese with him.
At Capitol Grill.
In the middle of his dinner. He told you where he's going to be. My family will be getting together for drinking and gambling. So the question I have today is related to that, but not gambling. When you're going into a night in which you are expected to, you have a general expectation that you're going to be doing a medium, at least, amount of drinking. How do you handle it so you don't get out of control? What is your general pathway? One type of drink?
Oh.
Do you switch? What's been your personal method? Do you start with a mixed drink and then move on? Do you start with just one drink and you ride that the whole way through? What's your general plan going into a night? And look, I got to deal all night, so I got to be careful anyway. But
Cody's dealing.
Deal the cards.
Oh.
I'm just making sure.
Okay.
I'm
just making sure.
We already established Drew is the potential deal.
I didn't know if
breaker
you
in the group.
were meeting up with X Factor or something, allegedly, or not. But I think if you know you're going to be drinking for hours and hours and hours,
it
then
might be 6 or 7 hours of drinking.
I'll stick with beer. If you know it's a short period of time and you're crashing at that place and you're not going anywhere, obviously, then I'll go hard liquor and I'll just stick with the hard liquor. But I'm way past I'm way past shots. I'm not doing shots or anything.
I've made that mistake at this type of game before.
Shots?
So let's just establish I don't have at this reputation of the game. I didn't used to be the dealer. So I used to get a little friskier because I wasn't in charge of people's money and the cards and stuff.
Are you an aggressive drunk?
No. I'm messy.
Oh, okay.
I could get sick or I could just knock stuff over, spill drinks.
Okay.
No, I'm a mess. I'm Godzilla through a small town, man.
Okay.
I just smashy, not aggressive, just I'm
gotcha.
clumsy.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
So, because I'm in charge of those things, I try to be more mindful. But I think so I've made the mistake of like we've iced people or whatever when we were kids. Take shots. I don't go down that route. But sometimes I am guilty of, I start with a few beers and then it's like, hey, we're drinking whiskey. And I'm like, cool. And then I start drinking neat whiskey for a little too long. And then I try to switch back to I'm just curious what people's general philosophies. You're saying if you know it's a marathon drinking, you're going beer and you're going beer the whole way.
Yep.
Never changing hands.
Yeah.
Never switching gears.
Yeah.
Interesting. I almost never do that. Maybe I should. Drew?
I typically pick one drink and you're drinking that the whole way through. I guess the expectation of me drinking many of these is a no. Like if I say, hey, I'm going to have a vodka, some sort of vodka combination, I'm not planning to drink like 6 or 7 of these. I'm planning to just slow sip my way through the night with that one drink.
Okay, so yeah, it's not typically that. From the 816, it's 2 mixed drinks. That's how they get their buzz going. Then they just lightly sip on beer until I was like, that's not bad. I understand that.
Well, the difference too, Cody's hosting this at his house, so
not this year. This year it's at my brother's house. He only lives like 10 minutes away from me.
I was going to say, you got to make sure you got to get an Uber, you got to have a DD or something. Because if it was at your house, then
last year was at my house.
It's your house. You're not going anywhere.
I think my general, because I deal for a majority of the night, I think I should be allowed to hand it over at midnight and just turn over a drinking and leave. Let somebody else deal for a little bit. I'm free and clear of this for a bit. Because otherwise you do, there's just not enough time to drink, because the game constantly moves.
That's a hell of a quote right there. That's a hell of a quote. There's just not enough time to drink.
Someone says, just set yourself with the driver and don't worry about it too much. Oh, no, I'll Uber. Don't worry about that. I'm not going to. He'd probably let me just crash at his house, too, if I wanted to.
You do have Gold feeling some type of way, though, just by how you've described these things.
Are you an aggressive drunk?
I mean,
yeah, I was wondering, Cody.
No,
I was wondering.
I don't know.
I'm just clumsy.
I just now heard myself. I just now heard my voice back. Oh, God, it still sounds nasally as hell.
Yeah, you're still.
It sounds better, though.
The voice is definitely better today, though. It's
You're
just
not
I'm just
your voice
nasally.
as fast.
Yeah, it's definitely better. It's just nasally today.
How many times a year do you go into something being like, there's a pretty good chance I'm getting drunk tonight? I think it's once a year for me.
Not much anymore, man. That's just not years ago, different answer. Now, yeah, there's very rare. I mean, no.
Once a year?
Yeah, if that. I mean,
and it's never I'm going to do it. It's just I'm prepared mentally in case it goes that way.
Yeah, I mean, you should obviously prepare and make sure you have a ride home or whatever. But I'm turning 33 next week. I don't go out saying I'm gonna get bleep face tonight. That's just not. That's not the route we're going.
I did invite Speck. He will not be attending. I gave him the invite. I gave the
boss
the invite.
That would have been an interesting story.
To invite him into my inner circle.
Seeing you as you called yourself messy drunk while the boss was around would be really interesting.
Is that bad? Maybe it makes you more personable. This is me.
I think it does make you more personable, yeah.
Just as long as you're not
sloppy. You said you're sloppy.
But that's better than lots of other types of drunk.
You don't want to be angry.
Okay?
You don't want to be angry.
Angry's no good. The people who start saying hateful things, that's no good.
Yeah.
You do need to be careful when you're involved. You just have to be careful.
Yeah. There you go.
Someone says, why are you dealing all night? That's just...
how did you get suckered into that?
Okay, so for the first 10 years we did this game, maybe more, my brother-in-law dealt. They divorced, so he doesn't do it anymore. So once he was out of the game, because once, he was gone, well, then he doesn't get to come to the game anymore. Divorced, when him and my sister got divorced. So then it was left to somebody else to take over the reins. I don't know, for whatever reason, it was me. Again, occasionally somebody else will take over the duties late in the night if I ask or if I take a break, but for the most part, it's that. And this is always, there's multiple people on there that are giving the same response, which is always just as long as you drink enough water, you'll be all right. Constantly got to mix in the water.
Yeah.
Water to drink ratio. Classic young kid mistake is not drinking enough water.
Although when you were younger, though, you could bounce back a lot easier, and you didn't wake up with nearly the bad headache and hangover. It's a little bit different. That won't.
Kids got swim lessons at 9 a.m., so I got to bounce back one way or the other.
When I turned 29, that's when it started feeling a little bit different. That's when it started to feel a little bit different.
Yeah. Someone says we play poker, change dealers every hand. When we play poker, we do that too. It's a different game.
Poker. Yeah, you're not playing poker.
Can't change hands. It would be way too much. Way too much for this type of game to change.
People are wondering if you're skimming any money.
No, I take no rake. The money's the money. Zero rake.
Okay.
Why would I skip money?
That camera's a little fuzzy in that room as well, huh? Just like the mall creature in Miami.
Well, we did joke about the fact that Binkley wanted me to take our camera.
Oh, is Bink going? Is he actually on?
I haven't heard back from him.
Oh, he's bailing on you.
He bailed. He's bailing
on you.
Sorry,
he's bailing on you. That's what's happening. If you haven't heard from him today, he's bailing on you. He's not going to show up.
You think Binkley's no showing?
Yeah.
Damn.
Weather sucks outside. Oh, it is actually snowing now. I just turned around.
Yeah, but it's not really supposed to accumulate much on the ground.
No, Monday or Tuesday is when they're saying it could actually be a little interesting. But no, like still, when it's cold and it's overcast all day, it still sucks outside. Like it still sucks. You kind of you do want to actually stay inside and drink. Yeah, no, I hear you. But it depends. If people have to drive a ways.
Dude, we've played. This game has lasted every year since I was 18 years old. The only year we took off was for COVID. I mean, we've played in like ice storms. Like we've held strong and firm.
Yeah.
A little bit of flurries is not going to kill the game.
No, it's actually it looks pretty outside, but still just. Ugh.
What are you going to do tonight?
I don't know. Again, I told you I don't think drinking is the best path with the voice and the nasally stuff.
Probably just got to sleep. Get to bed early.
I don't feel bad. Like I don't feel like I need to go sleep or anything. I just have that. As Aaron Ladd walks in, he'll join us in Club 610 coming up in 10 minutes. I'm surprised he's not wearing his official Cotton Bowl gear or something from being down in Dallas.
Wasn't his official Cotton Bowl gear just a beige vest?
No. I mean, like the Cotton Bowl backpack that they gave the media or something.
No, he's a company
like that.
man. He's wearing a 41 shirt.
41 stuff. He's got his Missouri Tigers hoodie.
It's a winter wonderland out there, guys.
Beanie on. Yeah, that's what we were just saying. It is kind of nice out from a perspective of just looking at it, not being outside in it. Visually, it looks good.
Anytime I think for a second I have a hard job, I look at weather like this and I'm like, man, there's somebody out there like actually doing real work. We don't have real jobs.
Yeah, manual labor.
Let's admit for 1 minute we all have fake
physical
jobs.
labor.
These aren't real jobs. It's not that hard. Most people could probably do it with a little bit of training. Like I don't think I could learn to weld with a little bit of training.
Oh, can I ask you guys this? Maybe I know Aaron's not technically on with us yet, but I'm not going to say what was exactly spray painted because I don't want to go down that path. We're not allowed to on the show. But I was driving by our station. No. Yeah.
All right.
I was driving by our station. This morning I was picking up a drink from Starbucks. The Target over here has a Starbucks. And across the street, there's a bunch of houses, right?
Yeah.
Next to the Blue Beetle pest control place, the Blue House. There's another house. And on the roof, spray painted is the name of a political figure. I'm not saying that you guys can drive by.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. The point is, I don't care. I really don't care who the name is. Why would you on earth? I don't care who it is.
Spray paint your own house.
Spray paint your own roof with the name of any person, political figure. Period. It's orange too. The spray paint. Why would you do that? I don't care who the person is. Why would you do that ever?
Bart Simpson, your own roof.
Why?
Nah, not for me. Last suggestion from the text line, and then we can take a break so we can get to Aaron and I can go get the cocktails.
Yeah.
Someone says you should just drink a Borg tonight. We can go right back to opening day.
The Borg's outside on opening day. All the bunting.
I'm not drinking Borg.
all the bunting in the
0%.
Hey, real quick, Aaron's got 2 phones. Is he like X Factor?
We brought this up with him. We'll get to it in the 1 o'clock hour. Yeah, we've.
Sorry.
Why? We've talked about the 2 phones. It is a little interesting.
I should play that coming back.
By the way, if you want to win a large pizza from our friends over at the other place.
Sorry, Aaron.
Just give Drew a call. Be the 5th caller to 913-586-7610. Cody wants me to take an early break so we can get the cocktails rolling.
Well, I got to go do
here.
work. Plus, Aaron's here, so we can start with him early on the other side.
Club 610 coming up next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Hey, it's Carrington from The Drive. Do you know what my plan is for Sunday? Well, it's going to the other place to watch all my sports and for the best pizza in town. If you can't make the game, then go to the other place where their game day atmosphere will make you feel like you're sitting in the stands. Check out the other place, Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, and opening soon in Mission and Belton.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, You're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Why settle for a percentage of your home's equity when you can have it all with TrueHold? Let me explain. A typical cash-out refi restricts you to a percentage of your home's equity while saddling you with thousands in closing costs and thousands more in today's high-interest payments over the life of your loan. TrueHold, on the other hand, buys your home for its best current value and pays you 100% of your hard-earned equity in cash now. TrueHold is the cheapest way to unlock your equity for whatever you want. Plus, you have the option to stay in your home for as long as you'd like, while TrueHold takes care of property taxes, insurance, and upkeep. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will pay for your home based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. That's TrueHold.com.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, Saturday mornings on 610 Sports Radio at 5 a.m. and the Odyssey app. This week, Tommy answers your questions. Outdoor America, presented by Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321 321. That's JUDGE to 321321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT Mondays at 3:10. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City. WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Well, you hear that music, you know it's time for a Club 610 Friday here on Cody and Gold, presented by Jay Rieger & Co. We got our guy Aaron Ladd from 41, KFHB 41.
Honored. I'm the friend that y'all drink around, you know?
It's been a while since you've been in studio, man. We know you've been going on the afternoon show.
Aaron, if you're
going
going
on the
to drink,
drive, that's okay.
If you know you're drinking for 6 or 7 hours, what's your approach? So
I heard this on the
you're
way
mindful.
in.
What's your approach?
I'm a mixer, man. I like to live life on the
I
edge.
do too. I end up drinking
low and slow is okay if you're in a crock pot, but if I'm hitting Westport or something like that.
Yeah, Aaron will be at Harry's or whatever.
It's been a while for Harry's. I'm actually Che Charlie now.
Okay, switched it up.
Crab District. Yeah.
Okay. You heard in the background, Cody's making us our mixed drink today. What do we got from Jay Rieger?
French 75, so I'm using their gin, their award-winning gin, by the way. Lemon juice, simple syrup. We're going to top this bad boy off with champagne. We didn't have a thing on New Year's Eve, but I figured New Year's time, champagne cocktail.
This will do it. Nothing like it. Where's the... We had a hostess last time. We had
you were here.
Oh, yeah, you had some Dom Perignon.
You were here for the Dom. We don't even have our sign up today. It's more of a happy hour today. It's more of a happy hour than a club.
Laid back.
Yeah, I think so. Although we noticed, Cody, there's lemon in this drink.
Yeah,
and,
what's the problem?
Your container for the lemon is a giant lemon. I didn't know that's required in order to have lemon.
And this is what happens when you get in your late 30s and you're a married man. Prepare yourself for buying QT lemon juice, I guess. I don't have to tell you. She didn't even pick it up for me. I picked that up off the shelf. I was like, sweet, lemon juice.
That was the sell. It's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no mystery when I go inside the fridge for lemon juice, is there? That's lemon juice. They sell one that looks like lime. It's exactly the same. But this does
for
require
each
a little
fruit,
champagne.
for every fruit or every they have.
I don't think they sell orange. I don't think they sell orange. Juice just comes in a normal thing.
Orange.
That lemon juice extract is going to sit in your fridge for years potentially.
He bakes, cooks.
Cook. A little bit of everything.
Champagne. Yeah, no Dom because of last time was because of Jordan Lyles. We can thank him for that, but we'll have to see.
I'm gonna get a second bottle next year for some reason. Maybe if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, we get another bottle.
We'll get the stream turned on Twitch and YouTube as well.
I'm making drinks. You wait.
Text line's not happy with you. He's busy. He's busy. He's busy right now.
Multitasking over here.
There.
Flare bar.
You can now see everybody.
You can see the drinks. Cody's not faking making the drinks. He's actually making us the cocktails. All right, here we go. French 75, gin, a little champagne. Cheers to everybody. We'll get Drew his as well.
He's fine.
There you go, Drew. I always like that Drew turns his lights off. He really
does.
always leans into
You have to embrace it.
We got our
embrace
light
it.
on today in studio.
Oh, this is the club. Yeah.
It tastes like a happy hour. It's a little more of a happy hour. We'll see. We got the club light on now. Club 610 light is on. Lights have been shifted around. There we go. Okay.
When's the last time you actually went to the club?
Ooh, I think you asked me about Vegas. Last time I was in Vegas, which has been a couple years. I'm going to Vegas again in March. I would love to have to change my plans and go to Vegas in mid-February. That'd be nice.
That'd be cool.
Where are you at on that now, by the way? Let's get our first sip here. Cheers to everybody.
There we go.
Thanks to Jay Rieger.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. You know what? That's different. That's a little different. I like it.
So French 75s can come a lot of different ways. Like someone was saying, originally it was cognac, which I didn't have Rieger doesn't make cognac, so we didn't go that route. But
no, we're using their gin. That's good.
This is easy. Oof.
Someone earlier sent me a text said this is a great brunch cocktail. You're like drinking water. I'll just be like,
I might need another of these.
Someone did say that I should be drinking whiskey to just completely clear out the sinuses and the throat and everything. Maybe something like that. Thinking of the Vegas. All right, thank you. Thank you. I know the voice is stronger now. I just completely nasally, which is great for radio. Let's talk about Vegas and the Super Bowl. Where are you at now with the Chiefs? They beat Cincinnati. We were talking how, you get a little confidence maybe out of that game. It's not like everything's fixed, but maybe they realize that they should try to be the team that they are instead of the team that they're not in terms of, they're not the offense from last year. So stop trying to be that offense from last year.
Yeah, I still think you're playing better teams along the way now. The Bengals game is nice. Butker is the reason why, and I think Mahomes even said that point blank post game. He kind of saved them from some of the ineptitude that we saw in the red zone. And to your point, Cody, what we've seen over the last few years, they kind of move the ball easily within the 20s. And then when they get close up, it's a little bit of overthinking. I do like feeding Pacheco more. I think every Chiefs fan has been asking for that for the past few months. But I'm not looking at Cincinnati and saying, oh, this is their path to winning a Super Bowl. I still think way too many self-inflicted penalties or self-inflicted wounds, penalties, turnovers.
The turnovers are the ones you can't get over.
Yeah, they've been doing that all year. But don't you think that game, though, is probably against Cincinnati, that style is probably how they're going to have to win, though, if they're going to win a playoff game, where there are going to be plenty of drives that we're frustrated by. They're going to have a mistake, but the defense is going to probably come up with a big play, and they're going to have to squeak out wins. Like, I don't think suddenly they're going to play a playoff game unless it's against Pittsburgh or something, and they're going to put up 28 points and win 28-10. You know, I just don't think that's happening.
I just think teams that they're going against now are going to get 7 instead of 3 every time, and we're going to continue to see the portion of the Chiefs that we saw the last 5 weeks. We down by double digits against Cincinnati once again in the first half, and you're going to face a team this time of year that's not letting their foot up off the gas and letting you back in 3 at a time.
Isn't that why? I mean, that's this opponent, and we're going to find out how it all plays out this weekend, is so important. Because if it is Pittsburgh or Indy, I actually think they could still win a game just like that. But if it's against Buffalo or Miami, which are 2 likely opponents.
What's weird, though, they beat Miami playing the exact style we're just talking about, where they, wasn't pretty and just kind of
what did they do in that game? Something they haven't done much this year. They turned over the Dolphins, directly led to a touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, that's at least part of it. And Buffalo, they lost, even though they played a very similar game. They're like everyone else. That's why they feel human. You're like, oh, you're like Superman, but you got in a bar fight, but it's kryptonite, right? You got to, fight like everyone else. So you're just as strong as everyone, but you still got to throw actual punches and either do this. That's where I come to, the aggressiveness versus not. They play football like their defense is the reason why they don't have to be aggressive and can save them, and I think it should be the opposite. You should be more aggressive because the defense can save you. You're at the 4-yard line. Rather than kick the field goal, go for the touchdown. Because they're like, well, we only need 3. Nah, get 7. Because if you don't get 3, are they going 96 yards on your defense? I don't think so.
No, and I've been begging for that. Been begging for the offense because maybe that's what get the snowball rolling downhill. This is an offense that says, hey, we got the 7 this time. And think about the Chiefs' defense that we saw in the back half of that Bengals game where it's put away. They can pin their ears back. I'm thinking about that last drive specifically with the 4 sacks. Give that defense a 10-point lead instead of having them with a 10-point deficit the whole time trying to tread water.
Well, wasn't this last game actually, though, the example was a big for those that are always take the points? I mean, that was you look at how the game ended.
They took a lot of points on that one.
Butker was perfect for so long that you had to take the
Sure,
points.
that's what I'm saying. In that game,
the first 2, I agree. I want him to go for it early.
Yeah, but once, the way it played out, they needed to take the approach that they did, the way it played out. I mean,
probably, but I mean, they had back-to-back where they were right inside the 5-yard line. They go for it twice and get a touchdown. They actually gain a point. If they fail one time and get a touchdown the other time, then they still come out ahead in the scenario, which is, again, they're looking at it as we can just play the field goal game and win this game because our defense is great. And I'm just saying, if you take a couple more risks, you might be able to not even have to worry about your defense winning you the football game at the end. You might be able to bury someone. You might be able to get up enough points where what Aaron said matters, where you just pin back and going for it. Get to do your whole thing and chase after these guys and not sweat it for once.
Did you hear X Factor?
I did not. I'm excited for this.
So X Factor, we all know
he's back.
Super fan. He was
updated news. If you need something for are you on sports tonight?
I am. 6 and 10. See you then.
He's back. If you're looking for some breaking news, according to this report.
I'll lead with this. Sure.
You should.
Been doing a lot of work today. Got a couple new phones. Went 140 miles per hour on the highway, 100 on the shoulder to pass cars. Made from Garden City 35 miles in 17 minutes. All because X Factor's back. You haven't heard, coming back, going to Arrowhead, dressing up as a different super fan for this game because I'm still banned from Arrowhead, but that's getting worked on. The ban should be released before the playoff game. I've got Dwayne Bowe, Derek Johnson, Priest Holmes, Jared Allen, Nick Lowry, everybody Anthony Davis, a bunch of Chiefs players are going to call the Chiefs and get me back because I've heard that Arrowhead's missing X Factor after 343 straight games.
Hold on, by the way, 343 straight games.
That's nuts.
Hold on. 343 straight games.
Not possible.
Not possible.
No.
340. You've been gone for 20 years, 30, 40 years.
22 years.
22.
You think you went for 22 straight years?
He brought his naysayers with him, He's
He admits to a crime, then admits to a future crime he's planning on committing, and then says he's going to dress up. So, like he said, X Factor back, but I'll be dressed up like a different superfan. So it's not really back.
Well, he finally figured it out. Like the whole sports ban, arena ban thing is,
How much would it take? How much would they have to pay you a year to become a superfan? Oh, God. Your new job is superfan, Aaron. They will pay you a salary of your choosing. You got to go to every game. You got to hand out cards to yourself. You got to dress up ridiculous. You got to go to everything, but they'll pay you how much? What's the price?
Oof.
There's a price. Everybody admit it.
Some sports are easier. The NFL superfan specifically is a very unique brand of superfan.
Well, baseball superfan's tough. You got to be out there, 80 times a year and some road games.
But if
Football,
you're
if
you're a college football superfan, if you're like a booster, you're almost like a celebrity. You're paying me to be like the lady that we see dancing with Dion, or Miami guy who's at every game ever.
No, but NFL superfan, you're dressing up.
Yeah, and
I'm saying costume for part of the salary requirements. Would you do it for $150,000 a year?
Yeah. Absolutely. Loudly.
I was about to say, I was trying to think of a number where I'm like, maybe think about it for a minute.
You see what I do now for half that. So,
he knocked me out. He deboed me. 100 million hits on the internet. I was on TMZ. Pat McAfee. Watched the Pat McAfee video. It's pretty good. Was on TMZ, NFL Network, ESPN with the video.
KSHB 41.
Good Morning America. I was on there. So, anyways, I'm coming back, loud and proud. And a little, how about them Chiefs? And a little, and the home of the Chiefs. And a little, let's get wild, let's get crazy. It's time for Chiefs football. Woo! Back loud and proud, baby. Got a lot of bottled up energy. God bless you. Jesus loves you. I love you. Let's go.
He should have ended it. I just got a lot of bottled up energy.
He's got a lot of bottled up something.
Yeah, huh?
I feel bad for that guy. I was saying this before we came on. He kind of got replaced. Chiefsaholic came around.
Stole his thunder.
And he was the big viral fan that everyone was dressing as for Halloween, and he had the 30 for 30, and everybody was talking about Chiefsaholic. Like, I don't want to say I don't want to say X Factor is kind of like the Kayla Nicole of this situation, but he is kind of like.
Wow. I mean, that's an insult towards her.
He is a little score. He's a little score. He's a little.
It's got to be tough to be the biggest super fan that everybody knows for a team. Maybe, I guess. I don't really know all the other ones. But then, in addition to that, get knocked unconscious, then have a guy when you wake up steal your thunder by robbing banks.
But Aaron, you haven't been on the Pat McAfee show, man.
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
You think he would know that?
You'd think so.
There's
a little bit of brain rot there, probably, but other than that, we might be having a different conversation.
Maybe he had a little too much bottled up energy.
Yeah, what version of that at least? You ever been knocked out, Aaron?
Never. Thankfully.
Have you knocked anybody out?
I did. I was on scout team high school football.
Okay.
This is my famed sports career. I was scout team high school football, and you're not actually supposed to hit the scout team guys, but every once in a while, a senior would try and send a message or, see somebody out there.
Sure.
Saw stars. Should have been in the concussion protocol. I don't think I ended up because, there was no threat of me actually playing, so there's no need.
Nobody was worried about
Nobody was worried
They didn't start caring about concussions until 4 years ago.
Oh, points were made. Now we're really in the club.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out your high school football career. How long did you make it? All 4 years?
No. Cleanest jersey through sophomore year, and then I decided to join newspaper after that.
You decided to write about sports instead of playing.
I was like, maybe media.
I decided even earlier than that. I think I played baseball a little longer than that, but football, my parents wouldn't even let me play. I was injury prone then. They're like, no, you're not playing football.
They told you no? You approached them and they just said no?
Yeah.
Smart.
Honestly, at that point, I'd already had like a knee ligament. Like I was an injured. I'd broken both arms, and I was a kid. They were just like, "Football's gonna get you killed." And I was like, and probably in high school, I was about, I was about the same height. I got about my height early, and then just stayed it. So it's probably about this height, but I probably weighed like 165 pounds. I was gonna get wrecked. It's gonna be no good. They're playing it safe.
They were looking out for your best interest, I think.
Honestly, in retrospect, they were keeping me safe, which is, I guess, part of their job as parents.
We got Aaron Ladd from 41 joining us in the studio here at Club 610 Red Friday. So we know that the Chiefs game itself, okay, it's Blaine Gabbert and it's Easton Stick, but this weekend of the NFL, I mean, divisional round week is one of the best weekends of the year. This kind of has a playoff weekend feel. There's a lot at stake. Miami and Buffalo, right? That's the Sunday night game on 41.
It is. Company Man. Make sure you watch that. Sunday Sound Off afterwards.
People are going to be watching.
Everyone's going to watch that.
Spoiler, I think you guys will have a lot of people watching on Sunday night for that game because I want the scenario for Buffalo to have to win to get in the playoffs too. Meaning you need Pittsburgh to win, and a few other scenarios to go. How are you watching? Like, what are you thinking is going to play out?
Won't be watching. I'm good.
What?
I'm chilling.
You won't be watching?
I'll watch the Chiefs, see where they go, and
you're not even going to watch Buffalo. You're not even going to watch your Atlanta Falcons, who could get in the postseason.
You're not watching the Bills and Dolphins Sunday night game on KSHB 41.
Okay, I guess. Yes. Goldie,
you're clearly not working Sunday night, are you?
I'm off that.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's cool, and I really like that the league has. I was supremely against the extra game, and I think it was falling on deaf ears because everybody's like, "Oh, more NFL football in games that actually mean something at the back half of the year." Like, yeah, absolutely, I'll take that. And they've turned it into this whole thing where I was even watching last week's Sunday night game, trying to even know what the slate would be for Week 18, and I'm like, this is peak football crackhead energy. Like, they've turned an extra week into meaningful games that. The Falcons should not be a team that could potentially win their division.
20 teams have a shot at a playoff spot.
It's just I give kudos to the NFL. They've absolutely mastered the back half, and now we've got peacock games, and they're selling them off to the highest bidders. And these games that could have been emails, essentially. But I'm opting out this year. I'm Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm opting out of this one.
You're just going to wait for the postseason and see what happens there.
I'll post a graphic on social media. Thank you. Does anybody actually read the graphic that college athletes post, or we just the last line?
No. There's way too many words.
Thank you to Coach.
Other than that one that I saw went viral yesterday, that's about it.
Oh, ooh.
We got to get a shock absorber on Aaron Ladd's microphone. Anytime he touches the table, keep your hands away from the table.
Hands away.
Man.
My bad.
Hands away. No, I mean
hands away.
Hands away from the table.
That's
please.
the same thing that usually happens to your microphone.
It is, but that's why
what
it keeps happening.
So you got to work tonight. So you got to work tomorrow too.
Tonight and tomorrow, off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So a little 3-day weekend.
Okay.
Riding into Wild Card Weekend.
Wow.
I'm always curious by because our schedule, I used to work nights and weekends and all that stuff too. And I feel like everybody handles a little bit different between either restaurant or sports work and all that. Do you just treat Sunday like it's a weekend? Or do you try to get out tonight after 10 o'clock and rebound for Saturday?
There is no going out after 10:30. There have been times, don't get me wrong.
You're
I've done the quick change. I've done the from the suit jacket on the KSHB 41 floors.
Yeah, in Dallas, there's no way you just were done after that game.
Oh, no.
We'll talk about that in a second.
But now I'm a little bit more veteran, Like I said, I was nursing a little something. So, I'll probably just take it easy tonight.
Okay. I didn't know what the normal plan was.
I'm at the club now.
That's true. At 1:15 on a Friday.
We do start early for the station. In fairness, this is the bitter end of our working week. The second 2 o'clock hits, I stop doing stuff. That's it. I'm like, I'm done. We're done here. We're done until the Chiefs play a game on Sunday. And in this case, not even until then, because it's Chiefs, Chargers, and Easton Stick and Blaine Gabbert. By the way, Andy Reid did say they have not made a decision yet on Travis Kelce and whether or not he will play. He said that
he's playing.
They'll make that decision as it gets closer to. I guess maybe he's not trying to tip his hand for the Chargers, then quadruple team him, stop him from getting 16 yards. He's gonna play, and they're gonna try to force feed him those 16 yards so he can just get his 1,000 and move on.
That's where it gets interesting for me. What if it's midway through the second quarter
and he doesn't have it?
No, to me, he has 1 or 2 drives to get it. If not, this doesn't happen. He's got 1 or 2 drives. You don't risk the injury. 1 or 2 drives. That's it.
Late in the fourth, he couldn't get in there for a snap.
Blaine Gabbert can do a tight end screen for 3 straight plays for all I care. I don't care. Whatever it takes and get him out of there.
I think the script kind of matters here. And I also went on Chiefs Coast to Coast Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network this week and said, I actually feel like the starters should have gone a little bit.
What?
Because because they're not playing good.
Dude, they're
Well,
not
I said
playing
they should put
well.
MVS out there, make him have 80 snaps, if there's even 80 snaps in the game, and make him get 15 targets. And if he drops them, who cares? If he catches it, great.
This is not a unit where you can say, hey, take 2 weeks off and we'll play our best game of the year with everything on the line. Like, it's just not. And I get you're not going to have, I mean, Rice didn't practice. I don't know what Andy said. You're not going to have, like, a lot of key guys out there. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to soft launch Kadarius Toney's confidence back up.
But he hasn't been practicing either.
Happen. He was, like, very light on Wednesday, but he's not playing, in my opinion. I just thought this was an opportunity to, like, work out the new look of the offense. If you're saying you're converting over this retooled and reshaped and shaved down, whatever adjective you want to use. So why is taking a week off going to help?
Well, some guys are beat up. Rest.
Rest.
Been a long season.
This team's played Travis Kelce. So not everybody on this team. I always think we kind of overplay that because the NFL turns over so much. All of these guys don't have that extra mileage on their legs. But Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have 12 extra games over the last 5 years. You know? They've played their fair share of a full extra season of football the last 5 years. And so for them, yeah, sure. For Rice, who played, 12 games last year, and now he's coming into week 17?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden had to get used a lot more than we thought? Okay, for Pacheco, who's already been hurt anyway. Tony's already been hurt anyway. Any of the guys who've been dinged up, definitely give them the time off. But if Kelce really wants to go out there and get the 16 yards, I don't care. I wouldn't care if Pacheco was banging the table to say he wanted to get the 62. But if you're the Chiefs, you're like, hey, you're young and you've been hurt.
Pacheco's been
we'll
hurt.
Get you your 1,000.
Is not.
That's too many.
Yeah.
You got to be. If he was 15, 20 yards away, no, it still is about the playoffs. Kelsey's in a different spot, right? He's a future Hall of Famer. It's much different than.
So we're just doing
Isaiah
it for
Pacheco.
like Disney stories now, essentially. Like we're going
Legacy.
out there for
legacy. That's why he gets 1 or 2 drives. I'm not having Travis Kelce in the fourth quarter out there still trying to get 16 yards, but the first drive or two, sure.
It's like the third line on his bio for his Hall of Fame candidacy already.
8 straight 1,000
seasons. But the funny thing is 7 already is.
Yeah, 8.
But it is one of the
sounds
first.
better, you know.
It is one of the first 2 lines they will read when he goes to the Hall of Fame. He's clear of every tight end by a mile, so like he doesn't have to prove anything. The closest.
So that's why I'm like, why does this even really? And another thing is like, the best way to get better as an offense is not. They're banged up. I hear that argument. Rest them, but I don't see this being as beneficial as the team was trying to. I heard at that time.
You didn't even do anything that time.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. Like even if the offense play, like I don't think. Even if you told me all the starters were playing, they're playing the chart. What good? To me, only negative things could come from that.
All right, well then I'll flip it on the other side. Then what happens if Blaine Gabbert and them go out there and it's 28-0 at halftime?
Nothing. Then the Chiefs win. Aaron Ladd wants Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Ladd suggests that Patrick Mahomes should be benched for Blaine Gabbert.
I said treat it like a preseason game. You know,
give him a quarter.
That's what they're going to do for the most part. It's the first preseason game.
You go out there and get a touchdown on the first drive, everybody's done. Happy flight back. Don't care what the result is.
Just to feel good about yourself before the time.
Especially if you're trying to spin the Bengals game as a positive.
What's funny is I actually think I would agree with you if you were a lot of other NFL teams. If you were maybe a majority league, 90, 95%. They don't have to prove anything. They got 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. They've hosted 5 straight AFC championship games. They don't need the feel good about yourself quarter.
They kind of do.
They're either going to win or they're not.
I don't think the team does. I think
a lot of teams,
and this is legitimately people think I'm joking about the MVS thing. Like I'm dead serious about that. I don't think he's going to play, but I would
says throw him the ball 15
I would have
times.
him out there and throw the ball 15 times. Best case scenario, he does get confidence. Worst case, he's the same player and don't even play him in the playoffs. Feature him in the offense this week. If he catches balls, maybe he gets some confidence. And if he doesn't, then it's even more proof we totally can't trust you and sit his ass in the playoffs.
It's been over, though.
Well, they're still playing him, aren't they, though? That's the problem.
70% of the time.
He's the most expensive wide receiver in the room.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a financial thing at this point. It's that they still think he's a good blocker. I'm just telling you. Why else do you think he's getting playing time?
He's a great blocker. He's blocking them from success.
Let Allegretti line up in the slot if he's just a great blocker.
That's
what
it is. That's
Let
why
him line up in the slot. I just want someone to block.
That's the only reason why they're playing him.
Blake Bell out there in the outside wide receiver role.
I said 28-0 as in the Chargers lead.
No, I thought you said, let's say they're out there and Blaine Gabbert and they're up 28-0.
What is your option for this offense without Rashee Rice this week? I mean,
who cares? But again, who cares? I mean, the Chiefs could lose 35. Well, they're not going to get with 35 points, but the Chiefs could lose 21-3. I don't care. This weekend doesn't matter.
I just don't think that
has no bearing on what they're going to do next week.
I think that's like that flip the switch mentality that a lot of fans have, and they just don't. They don't have that this year.
They haven't had that this year.
Treating this as business as usual, essentially. Yes, you have the bye week if you look at the standards and you say we have Patrick Mahomes and we can, but you can't.
I think it's a weight thing, and I think Andy has always valued the time more than this. Andy's been a coach a really long time.
Yeah.
Every single time he's had a chance to bench guys in Week 17, he does it. Same as he did with Alex Smith with Patrick Mahomes later, and every single time he's had a chance, he ain't changing that. There's a few things, Andy has adapted to survive in the league a bunch of times, but there's 5 things he's like, no, I'll never run the ball. I'm not doing it. He's still very conservative. He's never fully switched over to the NFL's mindset of more aggression, more of the time to do it. And one of those is he's straight up just going to sit guys when given the opportunity. He's going to play preseason the same way. If there's an opportunity to bench guys in Week 17, even if it means 2 weeks off, right, in the previous bye system. If they had a bye right now this Week 17, he wouldn't play him in that game either. He wouldn't give him the old, let's give him a quarter to keep him fresh. He'd just give him 2 weeks off and see him in a couple of weeks.
Text line doesn't think we gave you enough credit for your blocking success joke. No, we heard it. I thought I'd give it a chuckle. No, we heard it. It was a good joke.
I apologize, text line.
Every once in a while, I'll have some one-liners here or there.
Yeah. Aaron Ladd from KSHB 41. Hanging out with us is Club 610, a Red Friday. Thanks to our friends at Jay Rieger & Co. Up next, we will get our game predictions for the weekend. Also, Aaron was in.
Don't care about the score at all, but I'll give it to you.
Aaron, it's sponsored by T-Mobile. We're going to do them. And we'll get Aaron's thoughts on Dallas, Texas in the Cotton Bowl next.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Old Shiny Pizza has expanded to the Crossroads with their OSP Express. Go to OSPEXP.com to order and use any third-party delivery system located in the Crossroads or stop in 16th and Campbell. Go to OSPEXP.com to order. Old Shiny Pizza, now with 3 locations.
Here's to everyone who was made to shine from Shane Company. To wearing your lucky gold chain to the game, to receiving your first communion in your new pearls. Here's to getting down on one knee, to recommitting to forever, to saying yes to something sparkly just for you, just because. Here's to your first set of diamond studs, to the family heirloom you'll never take off. Here's to lighting up the room like only you can. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Back here on 610 Sports Radio.
Still arguing about whether or not Travis Kelce should play.
Aaron Ladd from 41.
At least it's not the rest. We're not debating like the stuff that's happening on the pop culture sites, which is breaking news. Man has job, has to go to it, because that's essentially been every like People headline when Travis Kelce won't be at the Golden Globes. Like, they're going to be in the same city and won't be like, he has a job.
They don't know how this world
works. They really
though.
don't. Someone needs to fill them in how football works because, yeah, Page 6 doesn't understand that Travis Kelce playing a football game at 3 o'clock, he can't be at the Golden Globes at 6 o'clock. And they don't understand why. One, there's a game. Two, he flies back with the team, and they just don't understand that.
Talking to my Swiftie friends, it's base level understanding of, like, football and like how the protocols around the NFL world works and
like you just get on the team plane, don't fly back on your own because you feel
I guess like I'm not expecting people that don't care about sports to know anything about the roster or anything, but like I guess I don't know, like if I heard someone played a sport or did something for a living and made a lot of money, I would assume that they can't just miss that because of their girlfriend. I don't know.
I think we're just learning that sports is a lot more insular than we want to pretend like it is.
Got to step out of that bubble sometimes.
A lot of times in that celebrity world, like, they do have jobs, and, like, if they're on set or something, but they're all shooting at similar times. Like, they can all go to this stuff together. And also, I don't know, maybe this is, like, the first time Taylor Swift dated someone who had a job. I don't know. Like,
well, both of them are musicians or
and
things
whatever. Move around them. Like if they say, "Hey, I have this thing later tonight," like everybody else moves on their schedule. Like Travis Kelce can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to the Golden Globes."
No,
it just doesn't work.
No, real quick, Andy Reid said that Rashee Rice, Donovan Smith, L'Jarius Sneed, Tony will be out. We kind of alluded to this a second ago, but just if you're just tuning in, again, that's just the latest for Sunday's game. They will not play against the Chargers, and it does, yes, sound like Travis Kelce is going to get at least an opportunity, and Chris Jones an opportunity, perhaps to do something, right?
Look, I'll tell you right now, if they're putting Chris Jones out there for that half sack, they told that man they are not giving him $1.25 million for 9.5. You made this bet. You decided to go for the incentive-based thing versus take our pay.
He could have signed the franchise tag and made more money.
If you want to go back out there for a half a sack for $1.25 million, be our guest. You want to sit? That's cool too. But they're going to make that man earn the 1.25. He's not just going to get it.
He also does the Rolexes for teammates once he gets 10. So I think his teammates are also like, "Oh, you're playing,
true.
right?"
That's
true. Everyone else would be like, "Can we just like run through this line to try to get Chris through? What do we need to do here?"
You're about to sack Easton Stick and you like throw him into Chris.
You push him towards Chris.
No kidding.
You don't even care about your own stat. You're a Minihue. You're like, "Nah, man, it's cool. You can get it. Go nuts."
You were in Dallas last week. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Your Missouri Tigers taking care of Ohio State, who will now have Will Howard as their quarterback. The Ohio State. Big win, biggest win. I understand the game was ugly, right? It wasn't a fun game. But you
cares about the game?
No, exactly.
It's fun at the end.
Well, who cares about the game?
It's the result that matters. It's the result that everybody hangs their hat on. Like, nobody's going to look back and say, "Oh, but it was the third stringers, and it really was a disgusting punt fest." Like, it was a gross first three quarters.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a huge win. You'll be surprised to hear this. I just put a bet on Missouri at 50-1 to win the title next year.
Wow.
Now, I don't think your Tigers are winning, but I think they can make the college football playoff,
and
Aaron,
he can hedge.
and then I can hedge. I think they have a path to be one of the 12, and if they're 12 and I got a 50-1 ticket, I'm feeling pretty good about hedging. What are your thoughts on that?
And that's all Missouri fans have been hoping and dreaming for since they've been sold this bill of goods by Eli Drinkwitz when he showed up. Like, you have a realistic path. You're in the SEC. We have now rewritten the NIL laws to be able to compete in the five-star market. Your schedule, non-conference and conference, is really not that daunting. And now with the 12 team, you could lose 2 games and still be firmly in contention of hosting because you know that you can host on that first.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably definitely in so they play Oklahoma and then they play at Bama. Let's say they lose at Bama but beat Oklahoma, and the rest of the schedule is favorable. If that's it, they could. I mean, they could be the 8th team, 7th team.
They would have been in this year had it been the case.
They would have,
for sure.
Back to your point about Dallas, it was really, and I think I did say this on the afternoon show, so I'm sorry for recycling a take.
Different audiences, it's fine.
Yeah, it's cool over here. I thought it was really a coronation for Cody Schrader. He's the guy that, when Eli Drinkwitz talks about the culture and the brotherhood and all the stuff that's going to be released in the mini movie later today on Mizzou,
what?
Yeah, they do like a mini movie for each game. Okay. Yeah, so the Cotton Bowl mini movies being released a little bit.
Look, that's not corny like when they were trying to teach people how to clap. We can relax a little on.
Yeah. No, I just didn't know. You said mini movie. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like behind the scenes and whatever. Anyway.
Will that be on KSHB 41 today?
No. But I will be bricked up when it does get released. Let me tell you.
Goodness gracious.
Let me tell you.
Oh my God! Aaron's getting more comfortable in his. Not only
he's got about half a drink in him.
Aaron's not only getting more comfortable on this show. You can tell he's more comfortable with his job security at KSHB.
Aaron,
they're not getting rid of me.
We've talked a lot about the fact, I'm getting ready to drink and gamble. What are your vices? What are the things you do outside of drinking? Do you gamble?
Pot. Which is legal on the. What are my vices? I mean, like pot and porn, maybe.
We're just
Do you gamble?
No, actually.
Oh, wow, okay.
If I lose $30, my week is ruined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, ruined? So some people, we had that conversation earlier, which is what is the amount of money on the table before you're like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't like this. And for you, it might be $25, $30 based on the way you're talking.
$35 on a shame meal, a meal that I should not keep, a entree, app, and a dessert, plus a soda, and be fine. But if I lose $35 on Kelsey anytime touchdown or something like that, I'll be heated.
Man, everyone's a little different. Gold's the opposite of that. He doesn't feel alive until he's lost several $100s, Otherwise, it's just it's not even moving the needle,
That's a bit of a stretch.
we don't unit shame on this show.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch, but yeah,
Pete Sweeney's on the heater of all time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We need to. He needs to be investigated.
He's on a heater right now, though.
Really?
He's on a heater.
He's on a big heater.
You all right?
The IRS is going to be very happy.
Why you got to add him to the IRS?
He's on a heater.
He could lose some of that back.
He could.
Get some of it back?
I mean, that would be a hell of a fall. The amount of money he's won in the last week, that would be quite for him to lose money on the year, it would mean he really screwed up the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
It's January 4th or 5th.
Dude, he won a lot.
Some of it, though, I don't
know if we want him putting his business on the street the dollar amount, but I'll tell you in the break.
Is there a comma?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say the dollar amount on the air that he won. I will say though he won it before the end of the year, which means that's on last year's taxes. He's got. Unfortunately,
well, you know what? Actually, that's easier. Set it aside right now.
Doesn't matter. He's got to file those. He's got to report that on this coming tax season. Unfortunately, he did not win in 2024.
Yeah, so I just really feel like Cody Schrader should have been the Cotton Bowl offensive MVP over Brady Cook. Brady made some plays, and I this year was a lot about him making the next step. There were questions coming in if he could be the guy, especially
3 games in. I thought they should switch.
Really?
I honestly didn't think that they should just keep rolling with Brady Cook. It felt like they were just rolling the ball in the same direction, but with no movement. I was wrong. I'm not saying that.
He was trustworthy. He's a guy. I mean, Cam Newton got crap for calling a guy's game manager, but that was what his reputation was coming into the year. If he can make that next step with a better offensive line, because that's what they kind of saw about against Ohio State, that's top 10 trench battle. Is Missouri going to be able to play a battle in the trenches at the college football playoff level consistently? That's what you're banking on when you're bringing in a Caden Green and some of these guys that they've gotten in the portal the last few years.
It's perfect timing. I mean, considering the expansion of the playoff, it's perfect timing for what that roster looks like in Columbia. All 3 local schools
for Kansas too. Yeah, it's a really good time for the locals.
All 3 local schools. It's going to be the best year that all 3, at one time have had. I mean, all 3. Yes, some have a better opportunity to get to the CFP. Missouri has the best, but you can see the path for any of the 3. And you can see the path even for Kansas. They're 200 to 1, by the way, if you were to slap down a few bucks.
Why didn't you?
I'm going to.
You sure?
Yes.
This is what I never understood.
I got 25 I got 25 on Missouri right now. That was the one I was worried about the market moving on, because already 50 to 1.
This is what I never understood about the people who were against the expansion of the college football playoff, if you're local, is none of the local teams had a chance to win a title unless they switched to this model. It was never going to be you. It was never going to be you, Kansas or K-State. It was never going to be you until they went to enough teams so that at least you could just like go on a run, make something happen. Or it was such an impossible long shot of like, you get in there one time in 50 years and you got to just pray you put it together. It's just too big of a long shot. With the college football playoff, if you're Missouri, this starts to become like the NCAA tournament. Where you tell yourself, if I'm the head coach, if I'm the football coach of Missouri, how often am I supposed to be in the college football playoff that makes sense for my job, just like the NCAA tournament? If you're the college basketball coach of Missouri, I'd be like, hey, you got to make the NCAA tournament 7 out of 10 years. Otherwise, you're not doing a particular. Just make the tournament. Make the Sweet 16 one out of those 10 years. Make the Sweet 16 twice. Make a Final Four ever, and fine, be good.
I guess I was just hesitant of going from 4 to 12. It felt like there was a number in between that we could have been like, oh, this is the test run, or like, I think everybody was under the interpretation that 4 was not enough.
Yeah.
There was teams that were getting screwed. We were making business decisions or broadcast decisions that really had nothing to do with football and getting the best teams in. 12 was like, okay, now it's kind of a wild, wild west thing where there's going to be teams that are getting in from group of 5, and there's going to be like a James Madison who pops up out of nowhere where it's like, the argument can be made where they're going to get in, and I just feel like there was a little bit of a middle ground.
That's what makes the NCAA tournament great. So
before we get to our game predictions, so earlier in the week we had for one of our Trash of the Days, look, Cody's married. He's had a honeymoon. Drew's married. He's had a honeymoon. Wow. I don't know where you're at right now in life, Aaron.
Not married, no honeymoon.
Not married, no honeymoon.
I'm actually honeymooning a lot. I'll say that.
Okay. So there's a new trend that I think is crazy called buddy moons. And if you're wondering, what is this? So people that get married, a couple gets married, and instead of going on their honeymoon, they invite their friends with them, which sounds terrible. Now, if you want to have a destination wedding,
Aaron hates it.
You want to have a destination wedding, that's fine. But the idea that you have a wedding and then you say, hey, by the way, we're also going to Jamaica next weekend for our honeymoon. Why don't you come along? That seems terrible. Awful idea.
I'm out on that.
Rob Wren said hell no, too, when I asked him. He's actually going on a honeymoon in like 7 months.
It's all about privacy and, like
what, Aaron?
Like getting to know your partner.
Yeah. Dude, but for real, if you're getting married, it's a modern time. You would have gotten to know them for 5 years before you don't need to get to know them more.
That's a special
time. If you want to have sex twice a day, you still can do that and then hang out with everybody.
But it's a special time in their life. Hopefully you only get married once, and you are newlyweds. You're only newlyweds once. It's a special time in your life.
Now, if you're balling on a budget, I get it. And it's like a thing where...
Yeah, but you're not paying for your friends.
Well, I thought...
But he's saying like, hey, we all go get a house in the mountain and we're doing it.
Oh, that's even worse.
We go
sharing a house, even worse.
If you do your own thing during the day, everybody, y'all go on a snorkeling thing while we go hiking, or y'all go to the beach.
But then we're getting together and we're drinking together and hanging out at night.
Yeah, we all come back together. I can kind of see
that.
No,
friend trips are fun. Like, I have no problem.
It's the same thing. It's just your honeymoon instead.
That's why it's different. You just got married 3 days before. That's the problem. But no, friend trips are fun.
I got invited on one. The timing didn't work out, but I'd have been fine with it.
You got invited on a honeymoon?
Same thing, right? The buddy moon. I got invited when they were like, hey, we're going to be at this place. If anyone wants to go, here's the setup.
Was it just you,
it was like,
or was it like a couple?
No, it could have been like a couples thing. No, it could have been like my wife and I went on a trip to, I don't remember where it was, maybe the Dominican Republic or, whatever.
They saw you from across the bar and they were like, we like your vibe.
No, it's a friend.
Pineapple out front. That's what it was. Pineapple. Someone on the text line for a very long time when we first started the show would text in every day. And say
I don't know what was
Cody has a pineapple in front of his house. That happened for like 6 straight months.
It happened a long time. Now you're reigniting that person to start texting that back in.
I'm picking up on the vibes, I see.
Someone says, what's with the music in the intro? Is this what you guys think people are blasting in the club? Well, spoiler, there are certain club songs we just can't play, turns out, in the background of this segment. Not only for FCC reasons, but also would be way more distraction, more of a distraction than even this song that's playing behind us right now.
Yeah, it's hard with the words. We can't just keep playing Into Club by 50 Cent for like an hour straight on this show.
Am I the only person that finished their drink?
I'm getting ready to. Gold's a little sick. We'll give him a pass.
I'm not going to drink mine. The voice is just now coming back, and I'm just super nasally, so I'm not going to drink that.
That'll help.
Not that drink, I don't think.
Before we give the game predictions,
a whiskey maybe would.
You actually want us to taste test these Reese's?
Yeah, okay, so I am convinced, and I'm trying to find out if it's just because I'm sick, but Cody, when we did our gift exchange...
Generously got him this gift.
We all spent $50.
Very nice.
Big
ballers over here.
It was a nice gift, and Cody got me a huge tub of snack-sized Reese's peanut butter cups.
Because he eats them like
every day. Because I eat them every day, or I had been. And I'm convinced the snack-sized ones These don't taste nearly as good as the ones that I gave you there that I bought in our company kitchen.
So I'm having one from the snack size.
Well, not
and
a
one.
yeah,
And then
you,
a bite,
you,
a
and
bite
Cody.
from-
You and Cody.
Oh, wait, do we each get one?
Yeah, you and
Oh,
Cody
okay.
can just do it. I'm not
All
gonna.
right, I'll try this one first.
You each get one. Yeah. Okay. So try this. You're trying the snack size one.
Yeah.
Okay. How's it taste?
Like a peanut butter cup.
But like, okay, all right, peanut butter cup. All right. So then you need to try a full size one here in a second and tell me.
Okay.
If it tastes different.
Gin and chocolate. My goodness.
Oh, there you go.
What a way to start the day.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, the snack
Really
size.
treating you, you know?
I think
it's like Valentine's Day.
I think the snack size tastes different. So we'll have Cody start.
Okay. I took a bite of that one.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
Clean the palate.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have enough my drink
I
left.
should have had like a control or something.
Yeah, we need. Yeah.
That's all right. I had a sip right before the last one.
Okay.
It's smaller.
Uh-oh.
The ratio's different.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
This has a bigger peanut butter to chocolate ratio, the big one.
And so it tastes better. All right, Aaron, you already tried the big one? Tastes normal, right?
Is there a difference? Which one do you like better?
See, I think there's more peanut butter in the snack size.
Okay, but does it taste better?
I can't taste the difference.
This isn't helping.
I think there's a slight difference.
I think you just need some medicine, my guy.
Yeah.
Like lots of it.
R&R this weekend.
It's just been the nasal thing for a while. I already been tested for COVID and stuff, and the
We're
voice
worried
is
about
coming
you,
back.
you know?
And yeah, I don't know.
Aussie's
man.
health insurance is pretty good. You
Well,
can go to the doctor.
Great prescription plan. Yeah.
Maybe some TLC will do you good, you know? Something behind the counter. I don't know where I was going with that.
Continue, Aaron, please.
I think you meant THC. I think you had the wrong. I think you had the wrong letters.
That always does the body good.
Oh my goodness.
I think he's suggesting something different.
Text line says they taste
I
different.
think they're different.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't want to eat an entire packet of ones that taste a little different, bring them in and share.
I might have to bring in the tub to work.
I mean, it really was like 300 of those things or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
You guys don't exchange gifts amongst the sports staff at
Aaron got
41?
Aaron got me a gift.
What?
Yep.
I did?
He did. Yep, when I went on Sunday Sound Off.
Oh, yes.
Right? Yep.
I did.
Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate that.
What did he get?
A very nice, not mug, but tumbler. Tumbler.
Like an insulated cup.
Yeah,
I
insulated
think.
cup.
Yeah.
Not a Stanley, not a Stanley. No. Yeah, no. That's at the national network level. That's where they get those. The local TV news just has the insulated cups. You gotta go to NBC national
Not there yet.
network level to get the Stanleys.
Maybe at Peacock. They get that
Yeah.
whole standalone NFL They
That's
get a whole. Do you support Peacock since that's part of the mother brand?
Do I support?
Are you fine with a televised playoff game?
I mean,
I'd
yeah.
rather be on 41.
It's true. And the Chiefs could potentially be in one of those.
I don't think they're going to give them the Peacock.
Only way
game.
they
I
get
think
like
we're okay.
Indy or Pittsburgh or something.
If it's KC and Pittsburgh, they could get Peacock. But if it's KC Buffalo, that's going on ESPN Monday night Wild Card night.
That KC Pittsburgh game that was like Big Ben's last game. Oh, that was probably my least favorite game to cover in my time here.
When we had six,
It's just
the Chiefs
cold.
The Chiefs didn't let up a single touch. It was not just cold. It would sleeted the entire time going into the game.
I remember Juju
and then Pittsburgh
came back.
kicked 6 field goals and won. They didn't even score a touchdown. That was also Antonio Brown down the field on Justin. That was just that was a dumb game. Oh no, that was a different one. That was a
Antonio
playoff
Brown
game.
was no,
different. I know which one you're talking about. So I was getting it mixed up.
This was Big
playoff
Ben's
game.
last game.
Yeah,
Big
that was
Ben's last NFL.
I made a song for him. It did not go great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I did make a song for him.
I don't know where it's at. Don't worry. I'm not going to play it.
Thanks. It is my least liked song out of any. Do you want to collaborate one of these times, Aaron? You want to do something on one of these songs?
Actually, yes, because
Would you prefer to sing or rap?
Ooh.
I don't really have any other. I only really do that type
You
of song.
guys can get with X Factor on this, too.
Back loud and proud, baby.
That's where we're putting it right before the next song.
I'll sing because I think most people would expect me to rap. So I'll zig.
Most people would expect you to rap.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
Because I'm black.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Wasn't
sure why you brought that up.
I actually played violin.
Violin? You played violin?
Yeah, I was like
Interesting.
at that age where I was about to get braces. So mom was like, no woodwind or anything like that. I don't know. Does that actually
matter?
Yeah.
What?
Maybe she just didn't like the sound of that instrument.
I think she
might
is.
have-
Yeah, she is.
wanted to
I
extra
don't know
sleep.
that that's a thing. I'm not saying it's not, but I don't know for sure that that's a thing.
So yeah, I did violin from like 4th grade all the way up through like high school.
Can you still play?
No, I wish.
We brought a
That'd be
violin
cool.
for Club 16. Could you play, like hot cross buns like the recorder? Could you get us like some
cross
Mary Had a
buns.
Little Lamb or something?
You know what? I'd be willing to give it a shot for content's sake.
We might need to get. We need a violin. We need to get a violin.
We can borrow a violin.
Let's get a violin here in studio for you.
I can't play any instrument, never could.
Y'all never had to do the recorder? Or
Oh no.
anything like that? Okay.
Yeah, I had to do
Yeah,
the
but it was only
recorder
for, like, a year.
But like Cody said, it was like hot cross buns. It was hot cross buns and a few other ones. It was awful. I hated the recorder. I hated that thing.
The band girls were always like that was the.
No, in fairness, that's a
That
long.
was the one.
That's a
Oh, yeah?
long-held standard.
No, I'm just asking for in Aaron's.
That's a freaky group.
In Aaron's life, it sounds like you speak from experience.
Well, you had to practice a lot. Part of like
sure.
you can't just show up on game day and like be ready to
Gotcha.
go.
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a lot of practicing involved.
Sure.
with, like,
A lot of
those.
time together.
Yeah. Hot cross buns.
Different kind.
Oh goodness. The club.
This does feel like the kind of thing that would come up in that scenario.
Yep. Yeah.
Great time for score predictions.
Let's get to them. It's our game predictions presented by T-Mobile.
This feels like the most useless one we've done yet.
Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile keeps you connected to Chiefs Kingdom all season long. We'll start with you, Aaron. Chiefs Chargers. How's it playing out?
Good luck.
Not that it matters.
Kelsey gets the record. I don't know if it happens as soon as the first drive, but I think he gets his record. But the Chiefs lose. I think they lose by a touchdown. I don't know what the
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah, like I do think Kelsey also gets 16-plus yards to get the record. I don't think Chris Jones gets to his incentive in this game. Justin Ross going to get a touchdown because they're going to feed him the ball. I think Justin Ross gets a touchdown. I'll go ahead, and I just have no interest in betting the spread. The Chiefs are 3.5-point underdogs. I'll go ahead and say they still win. I'll say this is a 24 to 17 win for Kansas City, actually. They went outright still, even with Blaine Gabbert. Drew?
24-14 Chiefs.
10-point win.
Kelsey does get the record.
I intentionally looked up a scoregami score because I feel like this game deserves it. I feel like this game deserves a score that's never happened in NFL history.
All
I
right.
guess I'll take the Chiefs because it doesn't really matter who
Yeah.
you choose to win in this game. Chiefs 22, Chargers 11. That would be a scoregami that score has
22-11.
never occurred in NFL history.
Can you map out how they're getting to 11?
So, yeah, touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal. I mean,
That
problem
seems
solved.
more-
Chargers come out aggressive. Easton stick touchdown, lead things off. They go for the 2-point conversion. They get a field goal in the fourth quarter. They never score after that.
I didn't know if you were
Chiefs
thinking-
managed to get to 22. I don't know how the Chiefs get to 22. That's even harder. They don't even go for 2. They must fail an extra point or something.
I was
there.
wondering if you thought the Chargers were getting like 3 field goals and a safety or something like that.
This offense with no Rice and a limited Kelsey and Pacheco getting over 20 points.
Does it really matter? Blaine Gabbert's starting anyway. They're playing a terrible Chargers team.
Chargers defense is awful. Again. That's, by the way, the nail in Staley's coffin the entire time should have been not the
Bosa's
lack
not playing.
not the lack of development from Justin Herbert. It should have been the fact that he was hired as a defensive-minded head coach, and his defense stunk. For 3 consecutive years, they were in the bottom 10 of the NFL defensively. Miserable defensive team. This is also why teams don't hire defensive coordinators. It's a lot harder to be like, well, if you're good at the one thing you are, you could still be a bad team because you can't score. And in the case where you're like a defensive-minded head coach who can't stop anybody, then really what have you done?
My boy Arthur Smith.
How's he keeping his job?
He sucks, man.
Yeah,
FedEx making those donations in the locker room or something? Arthur Smith's dad pay out?
Sucks. He just does. He doesn't use Bijan. They spent all these high picks on Pitts, Bijan, Drakelon, and they don't use them. They've gone back and forth between Ritter and Heineke, just passing them back and forth. It's awful.
That is a nasty place to be stuck between Ritter and Heineke.
Yeah.
But you can still win the division.
They reek of team that should just go get Kirk Cousins or like their veteran quarterback, put it with that squad and see if it works.
Hey, but they didn't want Lamar. Not interested.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. There were still
Not
media,
the guy for us.
This is the thing. There were still media people that were trying to defend it. Like he wasn't actually available. I'm like, you didn't even try.
Yeah.
The problem is that every single owner in the entire NFL decided to do like the Rudy jersey thing where they're like, it's not for us. We don't want him. And they all stood up together arm in arm to be like, not for us, for Lamar. Like, are you idiots? Like we thought they were idiots before, and now Lamar's going to win the MVP and have the best record in the AFC.
Bad. If the Chiefs don't get it, I'm rooting for Lamar.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
If the Chiefs don't get it, I'm rooting for Joe Flacco. What the hell? You kidding? I want Joe Flacco to take down Lamar. It's way funnier. It's just a hilarious end result. Matt Stafford to take down Detroit for the first time they're relevant in a decade.
Want that. I do want.
And then
I do
Joe
want the
Flacco
Rams
to take down Baltimore.
I do want the Rams to go
Chaos.
to Detroit. I do want the Rams to go to Detroit and Matthew Stafford to beat the Detroit Lions. That would be hilarious.
They've been bad for so long. I feel bad rooting against Detroit.
Yeah,
they won, they won their division.
Down.
They won their division.
They already hung that banner up already.
That was quick.
That
division
is
banner?
Yeah, they.
They know that's the only one they're getting. That's the only one they're
and
getting.
they put the year right in the middle. Don't you think you put the year off to the left hand side?
No, they're honest. They know there's only one.
Just kind of
there's just
stack.
one. They're not counting the future ones. They know.
They'll move. They'll unstitch. They'll move the letter.
They know that Ben Johnson's leaving and that Jared Goff eventually will not be as successful without Ben Johnson. They know this is their shot.
So, Gold, do you think MVS plays?
No, I told you I want him to. I don't think he plays.
If he does play,
no, Tony maybe.
If he plays. If he does play, I bet you
feed him the ball.
I bet you he has seven catches for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then he will go back to his normal self.
Matching
in the
his
playoffs.
season total, by the way.
I
7
hope,
catches for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Get him some confidence and make him play the whole game.
I actually don't think that that's the worst strategy out of you. Just force MVS to play. It's like the opposite of being benched. Everyone else gets to take the day off, but you got to work.
Same thing should have happened to Tony. Get right. Get some confidence.
God, he is just not mattered at all to this offense.
Aaron, good to see you, man.
Appreciate y'all. Great club.
Back loud and proud,
Yeah,
baby.
he is back. He is. Aaron Ladd from 41. Have a fantastic weekend. Hope everybody does as well. We're back in it Monday. We'll be talking playoff football. We'll know exactly who the Chiefs are welcoming into Arrowhead next weekend. For now, though,